The first time Shannon filmed me looking confused, I was standing in my own kitchen with one hand inside a cabinet and the other holding an empty prescription bottle. She was near the refrigerator. Her phone was pointed at me. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Nothing. I'm just trying to understand what's happening." Then put the phone down. She didn't. I could see my reflection in the black glass over her camera lens. My hair needed cutting. My shirt had sawdust on the shoulder. I looked tired, but I knew where I was, and I knew what I was looking for. "My refill," I said. "You said you brought it over." I said I checked on it. "No, you said you picked it up." Shannon lowered the phone for half a second, then raised it again. "Albert, you're getting worked up." "I'm not worked up. I'm asking where my medicine is." She glanced toward the living room, where my son Jason was waiting for her. Then she looked back at me. "Tell me what day it is." I stared at her. "What? What day is it?" "You know what day it is." "I do." "Do you?" That was when I stopped looking in the cabinet. Shannon tilted her head and kept the phone steady. "Confused," she said quietly. "Not concerned, not tired, not even forgetful. Confused." Jason came into the kitchen then. He looked from her phone to the empty bottle in my hand. "What's going on?" "Your dad thinks I have his prescription," Shannon said. "You told me you picked it up," I said. "I said I would pick it up if the pharmacy had it ready." "That isn't what you said." She turned the phone toward Jason, like she was giving him proof of something. "See, he didn't ask her to stop recording." He rubbed his forehead and looked at me. "Dad, Dawson's probably hasn't filled it yet. I called yesterday. They said it had been processed. Processed doesn't always mean ready. I knew that. I'd been using Dawson Family Pharmacy longer than Jason had been married. Still, I stood there trying to recall Shannon's exact words from 2 evenings earlier. I could remember her setting her purse on my kitchen table. I could remember the rainwater on her sleeves. I could remember her telling me not to worry about the pharmacy, but the sentence itself wouldn't come back cleanly. Shannon saw me hesitate. Her phone moved closer. That was the moment she wanted. "My name is Albert Gibson, and I'm 68 years old. What city are you listening from?" "I live in a small bungalow on Willow Oak Drive in Salisbury, North Carolina. I bought it with my wife, Patricia, when Jason was still young enough to leave muddy shoes wherever I'd just cleaned. Patricia died 4 years ago. She was 64. One Thursday morning, we were arguing over whether a kitchen drawer needed a new slide. By the following week, I was eating canned soup over the sink because setting the table for one felt ridiculous. I'm a Finnish carpenter. Cabinets, trim, built-ins, stair rails, mantles. The work people notice only when it's wrong. Patricia used to say I could spend 2 hours fixing a gap nobody else could see, then walk through the house with my glasses on top of my head while asking where I'd left them. After she died, I kept working. I didn't need the money as much as I needed somewhere to be. Empty mornings were the worst. A job gave me a reason to load the truck before sunrise. It gave me measurements to remember and problems I could solve with my hands. Jason and Shannon lived about 15 minutes away. Their house was newer than mine, but it had been built fast. Doors rubbed, baseboards separated at the corners. The kitchen island had a panel that booed whenever the heat came on. At first, Jason called me about little things. "Dad, you got a minute to look at this?" A minute usually meant an afternoon. I never charged him. I didn't even let him buy lunch most times. When I fixed their pantry shelves, Shannon stood in the doorway and said, "I don't know what we'd do without you." I carried that sentence home with me. I'm not proud of that, but it's true. When Patricia was alive, she could tell when I was making myself useful just to avoid asking for company. "You know people can love you while you're sitting down," she once told me. I'd been repairing the screen door while Jason and Shannon were visiting. Nobody had asked me to touch it. "I am sitting down," I said. "You're kneeling. That's lower than sitting." She laughed and handed me the screws I'd dropped. After she died, there was nobody around to catch me doing it. A few months later, I had trouble keeping up with my prescriptions. It wasn't anything dramatic. I had one tablet in the morning, another with supper, and one I took before bed. Patricia had always picked them up when she went into town. The first time I forgot, I went 2 days past the refill date before Laura Dawson called. Laura owned Dawson Family Pharmacy. It sat in a brick shopping strip between a dry cleaner and a place that sold used office furniture. She'd known Patricia for years. "Albert, did you want us to hold this another day?" she asked. I felt embarrassed. "No, I'll come get it." Shannon happened to be at my house when I hung up. She was dropping off a casserole dish. "I can grab it," she said. "I'm going right past there. You don't have to. It's not a problem. Dawson's kept a house account for me." Patricia had opened it years before so she could collect medicine or buy small pharmacy items without carrying cash. The bill came to the bungalow each month, and I paid it. After Patricia died, Laura had explained that Shannon couldn't use Patricia's old card. I had to authorize her separately, so I did. Laura put Shannon's name on the account as someone allowed to pick up prescriptions and make purchases. Then she issued a new card. Shannon slid it into her wallet behind her driver's license. It seemed ordinary. It seemed kind. For nearly 3 years, it worked exactly the way I thought it would. Shannon collected a refill now and then. She'd bring the pharmacy bag over, usually when she wanted me to look at a cabinet hinge or a loose board. Then things started changing. The first change was so small I barely noticed it. I was at Jason's house replacing damaged trim near their back door. Shannon came into the room carrying 2 glossy pamphlets. One said, "Staying safe at home as you age." The other had a photograph of an older man smiling at a woman in medical scrubs. She left them on the kitchen counter beside my tape measure. "What are those?" I asked. "Oh, nothing. They were at the pharmacy. Why'd you bring them here? I thought you might want to look." I picked up the first one. It had advice about rugs, handrails, and keeping emergency numbers near the phone. "I install handrails," I said. "I know. I don't need a pamphlet to tell me what height they go." Shannon laughed, but it came out thin. "Nobody said you did." Jason walked in while I was still holding it. "What's that?" he asked. "Your wife thinks I'm going to trip over a rug." "I didn't say that," Shannon replied. Jason glanced at the pamphlet and shrugged. "It's just information, Dad." I put it back on the counter. Then I finished the trim. The next week, the pamphlets appeared at my house. Shannon had brought groceries while I was working in the garage. When I came inside, both pamphlets were on my kitchen table. She'd placed them beside the ceramic bowl where Patricia used to keep apples. I put them in a drawer. 2 days later, Shannon asked if I'd read them. "How'd you know where I put them?" "I didn't." "You asked like you expected them to be out." She sighed. "Albert, I was making conversation. It didn't feel like conversation. Still, I let it go. That was my habit with Shannon. If something bothered me, I found a practical explanation. She was busy. She meant well. She worried too much. Jason didn't like tension at home. I could make things easier by not pushing. Then one morning, I opened my pill organizer and found Tuesday empty. Not the little section for Tuesday morning, the whole day. I filled that organizer every Sunday after breakfast. I kept the bottles on the counter and checked each compartment twice. That was an old work habit. Measure, set, check. I stood there with the organizer in my hand and tried to remember taking the tablets. Nothing came. I checked the kitchen trash, no loose pills. I looked under the table and behind the coffee maker. Then I counted what remained in each bottle. One count was short. Another was exactly right. The third bottle was nearly empty, though I believed I'd opened it less than a month earlier. I called Shannon. "Did you move anything in my kitchen?" "When?" "When you brought groceries. I put milk in the refrigerator." "My pills?" "No." "Did you fill my organizer?" "Albert, why would I do that?" "One day is empty." There was a pause. "Maybe you took them." "All of Tuesday?" "You could have." "I wouldn't take all 3 at once." "I'm not saying all at once." "Maybe you forgot, then took them later. That doesn't explain the empty organizer." She lowered her voice. "Are you feeling okay?" "I feel fine." "Any dizziness?" "No." "Do you want me to call Jason?" "Why would you call Jason?" "Because you sound upset." "I'm not upset. I'm checking something." She went quiet again. Then she said, "This is exactly why I brought those pamphlets." I hung up before answering. That afternoon, I drove to Dawson's to collect a refill myself. Laura was behind the counter wearing a blue pharmacy coat. She knew my voice before she looked up. "Albert, Shannon already got that one." "When?" "A few days ago." I tried to place which day Shannon had visited me. I remembered the casserole dish on Sunday. Or maybe that had been the previous Sunday. "Did she sign for it?" Laura nodded. "She always signs." "Do you know what time?" Laura looked at the computer. "Just after lunch." I waited for her to say more, but 2 customers had joined the line behind me. I didn't want to hold everyone up over a question I couldn't explain. "She probably left it at her house," I said. If you don't have it, call us, Laura replied. I nodded and stepped away. Shannon brought the bottle that evening. She said it had rolled beneath the passenger seat of her car. It was still in the bag, she told me. Nothing happened to it. I looked at the bottle. The label had the correct date. You picked this up days ago. I've had a lot going on. You could have called. I'm sorry, I forgot. She said it casually, but watched my face after she said it. I put the bottle in the cabinet. Then she asked if I could come over Saturday to repair the drawers in their bathroom. I said yes. That was how things worked between us. She forgot my medicine, and I fixed her drawers. A month later, a statement from Dawson's arrived. There were my prescription charges. Beneath those were several things I didn't recognize. Shampoo, skin cream, vitamins, a heating pad. The total wasn't alarming, but I hadn't bought any of it. I set the statement on the table when Shannon came by. Do you know what these are? She barely looked. You asked me to get that stuff. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You said your shoulders were bothering you. I own a heating pad. You said it stopped working. It's in the hall closet. She opened the closet, pulled it down, and plugged it into the wall. The light came on. Well, maybe I misunderstood. What about the skin cream? You said your hands were cracking. I used petroleum jelly. She gave me a tired smile. Albert, it's possible you don't remember asking. That sentence stayed in the room between us. I looked at the statement again. I looked at the working heating pad on the floor. Then I looked at Shannon. She reached into her purse. For 1 second, I thought she was going to pull out the pharmacy card. Instead, she brought out her phone. What are you doing? I asked. I'm calling Jason. You don't need Jason to explain a receipt. I think he should hear how you're talking to me. I'm asking about my bill. You're accusing me. I haven't accused you of anything. She tapped the screen, but she didn't make a call. The camera lens was facing me. I picked up the statement and tried to reconstruct the last few weeks out loud. That was a mistake. I stopped twice. I mixed up a Tuesday appointment with a Thursday supply run. Shannon asked little questions while I struggled. What did you buy that day? What time did you get home? Are you sure that happened this month? The more she interrupted, the harder it became to answer. When Jason arrived, she showed him part of the recording, not the part where I asked about the charges. The part where I was standing by the table, rubbing my forehead, trying to remember a date. Jason watched it once, then he watched it again. Dad, he said, maybe you should let Shannon handle more of this. I looked at my son's face and realized he believed what he was seeing. At least, he wanted to believe it. That night, I took the pamphlets out of the drawer. I read both from beginning to end. Then, I put them in the cabinet beside the pharmacy statements. After that, I found an old spiral notebook in my desk. On the first page, I wrote the date. Under it, I listed each prescription, the number of pills remaining, and the time I took the next dose. I checked the bottles twice. Then I drew one straight line beneath the entry and left the notebook open on my kitchen table. The next morning, I checked the notebook before making coffee. Nothing had changed, which was exactly what I wanted. The pills were where I'd put them. The bottles held the amounts I'd written down. I took the morning dose, noted the time, and closed the lid on the organizer. Then Jason called. You busy Saturday? I've got a small job in the morning. How small? Why? Our bathroom drawers are getting worse. I looked at the clock over the sink. It wasn't even 8. You said Shannon wanted me to look at those last week? Yeah, whenever you get a chance. Do you want me to come for dinner or fix the drawers? He laughed. Both, I guess. Which one were you calling about? There was a short silence. The drawers. All right, you mad? No. You sound mad. I'm drinking coffee, okay? Shannon said you two had some kind of misunderstanding. I asked about charges on my pharmacy account. She said you got pretty intense. I set a piece of paper on the table. I wasn't there. That's right. He cleared his throat. Look, I don't want to get in the middle. You're already in the middle. She showed you a recording. She was worried. Did she show you the bill? No. Then you got half a conversation. Another silence followed. I heard a car door close on his end. I've got to get to work, he said. Can you still come Saturday? I almost said yes. It was already waiting in my mouth. Instead, I said, I'll come for dinner. I'll look at the drawers another day. Jason didn't answer right away. Shannon already bought the slides. Then, keep the receipt. Dad. I've got a job Saturday morning. You said it was small. It still belongs to somebody who's paying me. He let out a breath. Fine, dinner's at 6. After we hung up, I stood at the counter with my coffee cooling beside me. I hadn't refused to help. I'd only separated dinner from the repair. Still, my hands felt restless. I wiped a clean spot near the sink and checked the notebook again. That Saturday, I arrived at their house at 6 with a pie from the grocery store. I left my tool bag in the truck. Shannon opened the door and looked past me toward the driveway. "Where are your tools? Good to see you too. I just thought you were bringing them." I told Jason I'd look at the drawers another day. She stepped aside. "Right, come in." The bathroom drawer slides were sitting in a plastic bag on the dining table. Jason had put my name on the bag with a black marker. I set the pie beside them. We ate chicken, green beans, and rolls. Shannon asked about my morning job, but she didn't seem interested in the answer. She kept looking at Jason whenever I mentioned work. Finally, Jason said, "You know, the drawers probably wouldn't take long. I know, we could do them after dinner. I didn't bring my tools. I've got tools." I looked at him. "You own one screwdriver with a bent tip. I've got more than that. You borrowed my drill in March." He smiled a little. "That's still here?" Shannon set her fork down. "They stick so badly I can hardly open them." "I believe you. So when can you fix them?" "Tuesday afternoon. We're both working Tuesday. I don't need you here." She glanced at Jason again. "I'm not comfortable with people in the house when we're gone." I let that sit for a moment. I had a key to their house. I'd installed the kitchen cabinets while they were at work. I'd waited for their water heater repairman. I'd driven over during a storm because Shannon thought a window was leaking. "All right," I said. "Next Saturday. That's another week. Yes." Jason leaned back in his chair. "Can't you just grab your tools from home?" "No, it's 15 minutes. Each way. You used to work on stuff at night. I used to bring my tools when somebody told me it was a work visit." Shannon stood and started gathering plates. "Nobody tricked you into coming." I picked up my plate before she could reach it. I didn't say anybody did. The rest of dinner was quiet. Afterward, Jason walked me to the truck. He tucked his hands into his pockets while I opened the driver's door. "What was that in there?" "Dinner." "You know what I mean. I came when you invited me. You were making a point." "I left my tools at home." "That was the point." "Maybe." He looked back at the house. The curtains were open, and Shannon was carrying plates into the kitchen. "She thinks you don't like her." "I've fixed most of that house for her." "That's not the same thing." It was the truest thing he'd said all evening. I rested one hand on the truck door. "You're right." He looked surprised. I put the pie server on the passenger seat. Shannon had packed half the pie for me, though neither of them had eaten any. "Why don't you call me sometime when nothing's broken?" I asked. "I call you." "You call when you need something? That's not fair. When was the last time you called just to talk?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. "That works both ways," he said. It did. I could have called him too. I could have asked him to lunch without bringing up a loose railing or an oil change. I could have told him the house felt empty on Sundays. Instead, I waited for him to need me. Then I showed up with tools and acted as if that counted as closeness. "I'll call you Wednesday," I said. "Why Wednesday? No reason?" He gave me a strange look. "All right." On the drive home, I thought about what Shannon had said inside. Nobody had tricked me into coming. She was right about that too. Nobody forced me to work for free. Nobody made me pay for materials and tuck the receipts into my glove compartment. I did it because gratitude sounded enough like affection when I didn't inspect it too closely. The next morning, I found an envelope from Dawson's on my kitchen counter. I hadn't brought in the mail the previous evening. The mailbox was at the end of the driveway, and I'd gone straight inside when I got home. I picked up the envelope. It had already been opened. Shannon had written a note across the front. "Paid online?" "You're all set," I called her. "Were you at my house yesterday?" "Just for a minute." "When?" "Before dinner." "You didn't mention it?" "I dropped off milk." "There's no milk here." She paused. "Then maybe I'm thinking of Thursday. The pharmacy bill is open." "Oh, I took care of it." "From what?" "Your checking account." I pulled out a chair and sat down. "How did you get into my checking account?" "You gave me the login after Patricia died, for the electric bill and the pharmacy. You were having a rough time, remember?" I did remember. There had been a week when I left every envelope unopened on the hall table. Shannon sat beside me and helped pay what was due. I'd told her the password because reading Patricia's name on old accounts made my chest tighten. That had been 4 years earlier. "I changed the electric bill to automatic payment," I said. "I know. Then why do you still have my password?" "Because you never told me not to." I looked at the open envelope. Don't take my mail. I wasn't taking it. It was sticking out of the box. Then bring it inside, unopened. I was trying to help. I didn't ask. Her voice changed. Albert, last week you couldn't remember buying things. Now you're upset because I made sure the bill got paid. I didn't buy those things. We already discussed that. No, you told me I forgot. Because you did. I flattened the envelope beneath my hand. Did you pay the full amount? Yes. Including your purchases? They weren't my purchases. All right, I'll check. What does that mean? It means I'll check. Check what? The statement. She was quiet for long enough that I could hear a television behind her. Then she said, "You're making this into something it isn't." Maybe. Jason doesn't need more stress. I called you. You know he gets dragged into everything. I called you, I repeated. She ended the call without saying goodbye. I drove to the bank that afternoon. I didn't report fraud or make a scene. The money had gone toward my own bill, even if I disputed part of it. I changed the online password. The woman at the desk asked if I wanted to update my security questions too. Yes, I said. She turned the monitor slightly so I could see it. One question asked where I'd met my spouse. I typed the answer myself. Patricia and I met at a hardware store. She'd gone in for picture hooks and caught me opening a package of hinges because I wanted to inspect the screws. She told the clerk before I could put it back. For the rest of her life, she claimed our marriage began with her preventing a theft. I smiled when I typed the store's name. The bank employee noticed. Good memory? She asked. A good one. Before leaving, I asked for a printed list of recent online payments. The pharmacy charge was there, made the previous morning. Nothing else looked unusual. That was one small piece of truth recovered. Shannon had paid only the pharmacy statement. She hadn't moved money anywhere else. But seeing the login history bothered me. She had accessed my account several times over the previous months. Some sessions lasted only a minute. I couldn't tell what she'd viewed, only that she'd signed in. I took the printout home and placed it with the open pharmacy bill. On Wednesday, I called Jason at noon. He answered on the fourth ring. Everything okay? Yes. What happened? Nothing happened. I said I'd call. Oh. Right, I could hear him typing. Are you working? I asked. Yeah, but it's fine. We can talk later. No, what do you need? There it was again. I don't need anything. He stopped typing. Then why'd you call? Because I said I would. For a moment, neither of us knew what to do with that. Finally, he said, How was your job Saturday? I told him about the built-in shelves I'd finished. He told me his manager had moved a deadline. We talked for almost 7 minutes. Then he said, Shannon told me you changed your bank password. I did. Why? Because she still had it. She was helping you. I can pay my own bills. She said you got upset about the mail. She opened it without asking. She was already authorized on the pharmacy account. That doesn't authorize her to open my mail. I'm just saying, from her side, it probably seemed normal. Would it seem normal if I opened yours? He didn't answer. Then he said, Can we not turn this into a fight? I'm not fighting. You changed the password without telling her. It's my password. I know it is. His voice had that careful tone people use when they think calm words can replace a direct answer. I asked, Did she show you the pharmacy statement? No. Did you ask to see it? No. Why not? Because I trust my wife. I didn't ask if you trusted her. He exhaled. I have to get back. All right. I'll call you this weekend. Call if you want to talk. What's that supposed to mean? It means you don't need a broken drawer. He gave a small laugh, though he sounded uncomfortable. Okay, Dad. Afterward, I added another entry to the notebook. I kept the pill record on the first pages. On the back page, I wrote down who had access to what. Shannon had the pharmacy card in her wallet. She could collect prescriptions and add purchases to my account. She had known my bank password, but no longer did. She knew where I kept the spare house key. Jason had one too. I stared at the list. It looked less like something she had taken, and more like something I had handed over, one convenient piece at a time. That realization didn't excuse her. It did remove one excuse from me. I called Dawson's and asked Laura to stop sending paper statements that could sit in my mailbox. I can set them for counter pickup, she said. Do that. Would you like Shannon to collect them with the prescriptions? No. Statements come to me. All right, Albert. There was no surprise in her voice, no lecture. Before she hung up, I asked, Can you print the most recent itemized bill for me? Of course. I'll pick it up myself. I wrote that promise in the notebook, beneath the medication entry for the day. The itemized bill was waiting behind the counter the next afternoon. Laura folded it once and slid it into a plain envelope. I highlighted the prescriptions, she said. Everything else is listed by item. I opened it at the counter. There were charges for face cream, shampoo, vitamins, a heating pad, 2 boxes of allergy tablets, and a package of compression socks. The total for those items was just over $200. I didn't buy any of this. Laura kept her voice low. Did someone else on the account buy it for you? I don't know. She turned the page toward herself. These were purchased using the account card. Can you tell which card? There's only one active card now. It's the one issued when you added Shannon. That answered one question, but not enough of it. If she shows the card, she can put anything on my account? Pharmacy items, yes. That's how the authorization was set up. And prescriptions? She can pick those up for you. I looked toward the chairs by the front window. An older woman was reading a gardening magazine. A man in work boots was rubbing his knee while he waited. Does the register keep a separate receipt? I asked. For every transaction, even if it goes on the monthly bill? Yes. Do you still have them? We retain our records. I almost asked her to pull every receipt. Instead, I folded the statement and returned it to the envelope. I'm trying to sort out a misunderstanding. Laura studied me for a moment. If you tell me what you need, I'll help with what I can. I need to know whether I bought these things and forgot. She didn't reassure me. I appreciated that. The statement tells us they were charged to your account, she said. It doesn't tell us who used the product. That's fair. I placed the envelope under my arm. From now on, I'll collect the statements here. I've already changed that. And call me when my prescriptions are ready. We have your home number. Use my mobile too. She checked the number with me and added it. That was my first deliberate change at Dawson's. It wasn't much, but it meant information would come to me before it passed through Shannon. When I got home, I put the itemized bill beside the notebook. I copied every non-prescription item onto the back page. Then I wrote a question beside each one. Where is it? I started with the heating pad. The one in my hall closet was old. Patricia had bought it before her death. Its cloth cover had a faded coffee stain near one corner. I checked the bathroom cabinets for the face cream and vitamins. Nothing. I checked beneath the kitchen sink, the linen closet, and the drawer where I kept first aid supplies. None of the items were in my house. That didn't prove who had them. Shannon could say she'd left them somewhere else. She could say I'd used them up. She could say I'd thrown them away. I took pictures of the cabinets anyway. Not because I expected the pictures to settle anything. I wanted a record of what I'd checked and when. On Saturday, I went to Jason and Shannon's to repair the bathroom drawers. This time, I brought my tools. Jason met me at the door. See, I called, and nothing's on fire. You called to confirm the repair. Still counts. It counts as improvement. He smiled and carried my small toolbox upstairs. Shannon was in the bathroom clearing bottles off the counter. She placed them in a plastic bin, then carried the bin toward the bedroom. A jar of face cream fell out and rolled across the floor. I recognized the brand from the itemized bill because it had an unusual name and cost nearly $40. Shannon picked it up quickly. That's one of the things on my account, I said. She looked at the jar. No, it isn't. The brand and size match. Lots of people buy this. Did you? Yes. With my own money. I took the folded statement from my shirt pocket. The same product was charged to my account. Her face tightened. So, where's the one I paid for? I don't know. You told me it was for my hands. I said, maybe you wanted it for your hands. No, you said I asked you to buy it. Jason stood in the hallway holding my toolbox. Can we do this downstairs? I looked at him. Why downstairs? Because you're standing in our bathroom arguing about Shannon's face cream. I'm asking about a charge. Shannon put the jar into the bin. You've become obsessed with that bill. It belongs to me. It's $40. It could be $4. She shook her head and walked into the bedroom. Jason set the toolbox on the floor. Did you come to fix the drawers or question my wife? I came to do both, apparently. That's not funny? No, it isn't. He waited until Shannon was out of sight. Why are you pushing this? Because her story changed. She probably forgot. When he said it, I looked straight at him. He noticed. What? Nothing. No, say it. When I forget something, you want me managed. When Shannon forgets, you want me quiet. That's not what I said. It's what you're asking me to accept. He picked up the toolbox again. Just fix the drawers, Dad. I should have left. Instead, I knelt beside the vanity and opened the first drawer. The old slides had been installed crooked. One screw had stripped out, and the drawer dragged against the frame. It was an easy repair. While I worked, Jason went downstairs. Shannon stayed in the bedroom. I could hear her speaking into her phone. He brought paperwork, she said. Yes. He's making lists now. I stopped turning the screwdriver. Her voice became quieter, and I couldn't hear the next part. Then she said, Monday should still be fine. A closet door closed. I finished the first drawer and moved to the second. By the time Shannon returned, I was packing my drill. They work, I said. She opened each drawer and pushed it shut. Thank you. You're welcome. Her face had settled into a pleasant expression. If I hadn't heard her through the wall, I might have thought the disagreement was over. Are you free for lunch Monday? She asked. What time? Around noon. At my place? Yes, I'll bring something. Who are you talking to? She blinked. When? Just now. A friend? About Monday? She tucked her phone into her pocket. I don't remember saying anything about Monday. I looked at the phone, then at her. I do. For once my memory didn't need defending. Jason came upstairs before she answered. He tested the drawers and said they felt better. I packed my tools and left. At home, I added the face cream to the notebook. I wrote that I had seen it in Shannon's bathroom and recorded what each of us had said. That was the first item I could place outside my house. It still wasn't proof she had bought that particular jar with my account card. I understood that, but it confirmed that her earlier explanation had been false. She hadn't mistaken my request. She'd changed her answer after I found the item. The useful part was knowing I wasn't chasing a feeling anymore. The cost was that the problem no longer looked like careless shopping. On Monday morning, Laura called my mobile. Your evening prescription is ready, thank you. I'll be there this afternoon. About 20 minutes later, Shannon called. Any plans today? You're bringing lunch. Oh, right. You asked Saturday. I wasn't sure you remembered. I wrote it down. She gave a small laugh. Good. Are you going by Dawson's? I can if you need something. They called me. There was a pause. What did they say? That my refill is ready. I'll grab it. No, I'll get it. I'm already out. Then stay out. I'll collect it myself. You don't have to make a special trip. It isn't special. She sounded annoyed when she answered. Fine, we'll talk at lunch. I nearly asked who she meant. Then I remembered the call I'd overheard. Who are you bringing? Just someone I know. For what? She helps families with practical things. What practical things? Can we discuss it when we get there? No. Albert, don't be difficult. Tell me who is coming into my house. Her voice softened immediately. Her name is Denise. She works with a senior support service. I stood beside the kitchen table, looking at my open notebook. Why is she coming? She can explain some options. What options? Meal delivery, medication reminders, transportation, things like that. I drive, I know, I cook. Sometimes I manage my medicine. She was silent. I said, You arranged an assessment. It's not an assessment. What does Denise think it is? Just a conversation. What have you told her? That we've had some concerns. We? Jason and me. Did Jason agree to this? He knows. That wasn't an answer. I closed the notebook. I'll meet her. Shannon sounded relieved. Good. Please keep an open mind. I'll keep my front door open too. What does that mean? It means nobody is going through my house. She may need to look around for safety issues. No. Then what's the point of her coming? That's what I plan to find out. They arrived 12 minutes after noon. Shannon carried a paper bag from a sandwich shop. Denise carried a thin folder and wore a badge clipped to her sweater. She looked to be in her 50s, though she didn't state her age. Mr. Gibson, thank you for meeting with me. Call me Albert. We sat at the kitchen table. Shannon placed the sandwiches down, but didn't open the bag. Denise took out a printed form. I understand there have been some recent concerns about medication management and memory. Who told you that? She glanced at Shannon. Your daughter-in-law contacted our office. What exactly did she say? Shannon interrupted. We don't need to make this hostile. I asked Denise. Denise rested her pen on the form. She said you had missed medication, misplaced a refill, and become uncertain about some purchases. I didn't misplace a refill. Shannon leaned back. We found it under my car seat. You picked it up and kept it for several days. I forgot it was there. Denise looked between us. Do you use a pill organizer? Yes. Who fills it? I do. Has anyone checked whether it's being filled correctly? Not until people started questioning me. Shannon folded her arms. This is what he does. He turns every question into an accusation. Denise asked, would you be willing to show me your medications? No. Shannon stared at me. Why not? Because she has no reason to inspect them. She's here to help. She's here because you gave her a version of events I hadn't heard. Denise closed the folder halfway. This service is voluntary. I understand. If you don't want to continue, we don't continue. Thank you. Shannon's chair scraped the floor. You agreed to meet her. I met her. For 5 minutes? It was useful. How? I looked at Denise. Now I know what she was told. Denise put the form back into her folder. I think it would be better if the family discussed expectations before scheduling anything else. There won't be anything else, I said. Shannon stood. This is unbelievable. I opened the sandwich bag and handed one wrapped sandwich to Denise. You came at lunchtime. She hesitated, then accepted it. Thank you. Shannon took the bag from me. Those were for all of us. There are 3. She looked inside. There were 3 sandwiches. Her face reddened. Denise left first. She performed one function and left with the same folder she'd brought. She didn't examine my house, my medicine, or my notebook. Shannon stayed near the front door. You embarrassed me. You brought a stranger here to evaluate me. She could make things easier. For whom? For everyone. What does Jason know? He knows I was coming. Does he know what you told her? You can ask him. I will. She gripped the sandwich bag against her chest. Honestly, Albert, this reaction proves we're right to be concerned. No, it proves you need my permission before arranging services in my home. We were trying to help. Next time, ask directly. She opened the door. I'm done arguing. Before you go, give me the pharmacy card. Her hand stopped on the doorknob. Why? I'm collecting my own refill. You might need me to get one later. Then I'll ask. She turned around, but she didn't reach for her wallet. It's at home. I saw it in your wallet when you paid for dinner last month. You were looking through my wallet? It was open on the table. She gave a short, disbelieving laugh. So, now you're monitoring my wallet. I asked for my card. It belongs to the account, not to you personally. The account is mine. You authorized me to help me, and that's what I'm doing. She walked out before I could answer. I didn't follow her. I went back to the table and wrote down exactly what Denise had been told. Then I added another line beneath it. Shannon refused to return the card. At 3 that afternoon, I drove to Dawson's and collected the refill myself. Laura handed me the sealed bag. Nobody else picked this one up, she said. I checked the label before leaving the counter. For that refill at least, I knew where the bottle had been from the moment it was filled until the moment Laura placed it in my hand. I drove straight home and put the bag on the kitchen table. Before opening it, I wrote the pickup time in my notebook. Then I checked the label against the old bottle and counted what remained. The numbers matched. For the next 5 days, I handled every dose the same way. I took the pill, marked the time, and counted what remained at night. Nothing disappeared. I also slept better. The heavy feeling behind my eyes eased. I stopped losing the middle of conversations. I still walked into the garage once and forgot why, but I found the sandpaper in my hand and remembered. That kind of thing had happened to me at 30. The difference was that nobody had filmed it then. On Friday evening, Jason pulled into my driveway. He was carrying my drill in its black case. I thought you might need this, he said. I have another drill. I know. I should have returned it months ago. He set it on the workbench in my garage. Want coffee? I asked. It's 6 o'clock. I drink decaf after supper. You used to make fun of decaf. I used to sleep 4 hours and call it discipline. He followed me inside. I made coffee while he stood near the table, looking at the notebook. Is that the list Shannon was talking about? It's my medication log. Can I see it? I slid it toward him. He read the first few pages without sitting down. Each entry was plain. Date, time, prescription, number remaining. I hadn't written anything about my mood or memory. You count them every day? He asked. For now. That seems like a lot. It takes less than 2 minutes. He turned to the back page and saw the list of account items. What's this? The things charged to my pharmacy account. He read each line. I thought it was just the heating pad. Why did you think that? Shannon mentioned it. What did she say? That you were upset over a heating pad. Did she tell you she charged face cream and shampoo too? He pulled out a chair. She may have said something about household stuff. Whose household? I don't know. Yes, you do. He looked up. I assumed yours. You saw the face cream in your bathroom. I don't pay attention to what kind of cream she uses. It cost nearly $40. That's what face cream costs, I guess. Not mine. He rubbed one thumb along the edge of the page. Did she tell you I'd given her permission to buy those things? She said you'd always been fine with small items. Did she say I asked for them? I don't remember her exact words. That answer sounds familiar. His eyes narrowed. Don't do that. Do what? Use everything I say against her. I asked what you knew. She's my wife, and I'm your father. That doesn't make either of us automatically right. He closed the notebook. Fine. She used the account for a few things. The kitchen seemed very quiet after he said it. You knew? I knew she'd used it before. How many times? I don't know. Did she tell you I approved it? She said it wasn't a big deal because you'd offered to help us with pharmacy stuff. I offered to let her pick up my prescriptions. She said you told her if we needed something while she was there, she could put it on the account. I never said that. Jason pushed the notebook back across the table. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. She told me I bought those things. She probably panicked. Why would she panic if I'd given permission? He looked toward the window. That was the first time he had no soft answer ready. I poured the coffee. He accepted a mug but didn't drink. Did you know about Denise? I asked. I knew somebody was coming to talk about home assistance. Did you know Shannon told her I'd missed medicine and misplaced a refill? She told me you'd been having trouble. Did you agree with her? I saw the recording. That wasn't my question. He held the mug with both hands. I think you've been different. Since when? Since Mom died. That's 4 years. I know. What does different mean? You're alone more? You get stuck on things, such as charges on my bill, such as needing to prove you're right. I took my coffee to the table and sat across from him. Your mother used to stop me from working too much, I remember. She'd tell me when I was being stubborn. I remember that too. She never took my medicine and waited for me to question myself. Jason stared into his mug. No one took your medicine. A refill stayed in Shannon's car for several days. She forgot it. My organizer was empty. You could have made a mistake. Yes, I could have. That's why I started the log. And what has it shown? That when I control the bottle, the count stays right. He leaned back. That doesn't prove anything about before. No, it proves what happens now. He read the top line of the notebook again. I let him. Finally, he asked, what do you want me to do? Tell Shannon to return the pharmacy card. She says it's at home. Then bring it to me. You can ask her. I did. He shifted in the chair. She feels like you're accusing her of stealing. She charged things without permission and lied about why. That isn't stealing. What would you call it? She was going to pay you back. She hasn't. She will. When? I don't know. I opened the envelope from Dawson's and set the itemized statement in front of him. Add the non-prescription charges. He didn't want to. I could see it in his face. Still, he took out his phone and opened the calculator. When he finished, his mouth tightened. I didn't realize it was that much. Neither did I. It's not like she spent it all at once. That makes it better? No, it was the first clear no I'd heard from him. He put the phone down. I'll talk to her. I want a direct answer. About what? Whether she used my account for herself. You already think she did. I know at least one item ended up in your bathroom. I want her to say it without telling me I forgot. She won't come over if she thinks you're setting a trap. I'm asking a question in my kitchen. I'll ask her. No, I will. His phone rang. Shannon's name appeared on the screen. He looked at me before answering. Hey. I could hear her voice, but not the words. I'm at Dad's. More words followed. No, we're just talking. He glanced at the statement. Actually, we need to clear something up. Her voice became louder. Jason lowered the phone. Can I put you on speaker? She answered sharply enough that I heard the word no. He stood and walked toward the living room. I didn't follow. Their conversation stayed low for about a minute. Then Jason returned with his jaw set. She says she'll reimburse you. For what? The extra charges. What extra charges? Dad, Come on, I want to know what she told you. She said she may have put some personal things on the account when money was tight. That was the first honest explanation I'd received, not forgotten requests, not items I'd misplaced, not purchases for my aching shoulders or cracked hands. Personal things. When was money tight? I asked. She had some expenses come up. What expenses? I didn't ask. You live with her. We keep some money separate. I nodded toward his phone. Ask her to bring the card. He picked it up. She won't do that tonight, then tomorrow. She says you need help managing the prescriptions. I collected mine Monday. One pickup doesn't settle everything. No, but it settles Monday. He paced to the sink and back. What happens if she doesn't return it? I stop paying for anything she puts on the account. How? I'll dispute each charge. That's going to turn this into a mess. It already is. What about the work at our house? What about it? You said you'd look at the loose railing next week. I won't be doing that. His expression changed. That has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with this. You're punishing us over pharmacy items. I'm not punishing anybody. I'm unavailable. For how long? Until you and Shannon can ask me for help without taking it first. He stared at me as if I'd raised my voice. I hadn't. The railing could be dangerous, he said. Then hire a carpenter. You are a carpenter. Correct. You charge your own son? I'm not taking the job. He looked down at the statement. This is what I mean about you getting stuck. I heard you. You're willing to damage the relationship over $200. No, I'm done pretending the work is the relationship. He flinched just slightly. I hadn't planned to say it. Once I did, I couldn't take it back. Jason reached for his jacket. I came here because I was worried. You brought my drill. I was trying to do the right thing. Returning what you borrowed is a start. He pushed one arm into the jacket. I don't know how to talk to you when you're like this. Try calling when nothing is broken. He stopped near the door. I did. You came because Shannon sent someone into my house and refused to return my card. She didn't send me. Then why did you come? He looked toward the garage. I found the drill. We both knew that wasn't the full answer. Before he left, I asked him to wait. I took the itemized statement, made a copy on the small printer in my desk, and handed him the original. Show her the whole thing. He folded it into his jacket pocket. I'll call you. Call when she's ready to answer. He left without finishing the coffee. The next morning, I received a text from Shannon. I'm sorry you feel taken advantage of. I'll repay anything you can prove was mine. We need to discuss a plan for your care before this gets worse. I read it twice. She had admitted the purchases to Jason, but not to me. With me, she still wanted proof for each item. She also tied repayment to a discussion about my care. I took a screenshot and copied the message into the notebook. Then I replied with one sentence. Return the pharmacy card today. She didn't answer. Around noon, Jason called. Did you text Shannon? Yes. She's really upset. Did she give you the card? No. Then there's nothing else to discuss today. There is, actually. I waited. He sounded tired. Shannon thinks we should all sit down Sunday. To discuss what? Finances, medication, the house, everything, my house, your living situation. I live in my house. You know what I mean. No, I don't. He lowered his voice. She printed some forms. What forms? I haven't read all of them. Read the title. Paper moved near his phone. Then he went silent. Jason. It's a petition. For what? Another pause followed. To have the court determine whether you're competent to manage your own affairs. I looked at the pill organizer beside the sink. Every compartment was exactly as I'd left it. Has she filed it? No. Has she signed it? I don't think so. Have you? No. Don't bring it Sunday unless you've read every word. He exhaled slowly. She says this is just a precaution. A precaution against what? I don't know. Find out before you sit at my table. After the call, I wrote down the time. Then I placed the notebook, the bank login history, the itemized bill copy, and Shannon's text in one folder. Until that morning, I'd been checking whether I could trust my memory. Now I needed to know why my daughter-in-law wanted a court to question it. I spent Saturday afternoon replacing the lock on my side door. Shannon still had the spare key to the old one. I'd asked for the pharmacy card, not the house key, but the two had started to feel like the same mistake. The new lock came with 4 keys. I put one on my ring and one in the desk drawer. I left the other 2 in the package. Then I cleared the kitchen table for Sunday. I didn't arrange my folder like a courtroom display. I kept it closed beside my chair. The pill organizer stayed near the sink where I normally kept it. Jason arrived first. He was alone, which surprised me. Where's Shannon? In the car. Why? She wants me to talk to you before she comes in. About the petition? He nodded. Did you read it? Most of it. Did you bring it? He held up a manila folder. Is it signed? No. By either of you? No. I opened the front door wider, then tell her to come inside. He stepped onto the porch and waved toward the car. Shannon got out carrying her phone and a canvas tote bag. She stopped when she saw the new lock. You changed it. The old one was sticking. It had been sticking, though that wasn't why I'd replaced it. Does our key still work? She asked. No. Her eyes moved to Jason. He looked away. We sat at the kitchen table. Shannon placed her phone face down beside her, but she kept one hand over it. Jason put the manila folder in the center. I want to start by saying nobody has filed anything, he said. Good. This is a conversation. All right. Shannon opened the folder. The top page had my name typed into a blank line. The rest was standard printed language with several sections marked in yellow. This process would let someone evaluate whether you need assistance, she said. It asks a court to decide whether I'm incompetent. That's the legal wording. It's also the purpose. You're focusing on a word. I'm reading the title. Jason leaned forward. Dad, we're not saying you can't do anything. Then why bring this? Because some things have happened. What things? Shannon began counting on her fingers. You lost track of medicine. You accused me of making purchases you authorized. You changed your bank password. You refused a home assessment. You changed your lock. The lock was yesterday. It shows a pattern. You didn't know about it until 5 minutes ago. She took her hand off the phone. Fine. Leave the lock out. Leave the password out too. It belongs to me. That's not the point. What is the point? The point is that you're becoming suspicious of people who are trying to help. I looked at Jason. Is that what you think? He rubbed his palms against his jeans. I think everything has gotten bigger than it needed to. That isn't an answer. I'm trying to listen to both sides. You've watched her recordings. Have you read my medication log? Yes. Have you read the pharmacy statement? Yes. Do you believe I asked for those personal items? He glanced at Shannon. She reached for the folder. This isn't about the purchases. It started with the purchases. No, it started with your memory. I pulled my folder closer but left it shut. Tell me what I forgot. You forgot telling me to buy things. Which things? The heating pad, the vitamins, the face cream. She paused. That was mine. Jason turned toward her. You said you might have mixed up the jars. I'm saying now that one was mine. Did you charge it to my account? I asked. I may have, without permission. I thought you wouldn't mind. Then why did you tell me I asked for it? Her mouth tightened. I didn't remember the conversation exactly. Jason looked down at the petition. For the first time, her explanation had failed while he was sitting beside her. It didn't settle the larger issue. It did settle that one. I opened my folder and removed a copy of the itemized statement. Circle everything that was yours. She didn't touch it. That's not why we're here. It's why I'm here. We came to discuss your care. You came because I stopped making your purchases easy. She picked up her phone. Jason placed his hand over it before she could raise it. Don't, he said. I want a record. He asked you a fair question. She stared at him. So, now you're taking his side? I'm not taking sides. You just stopped me from documenting how he's acting. He's sitting in a chair. He's interrogating me. I pushed the statement across the table. Circle your things, return the card, and there's nothing to interrogate. I don't have to do this. No, you can leave. Jason released her phone. She didn't raise it. Instead, she took a pen from the tote bag and circled the face cream, shampoo, vitamins, allergy tablets, and compression socks. She left the heating pad uncircled. That one was for you, she said. Where is it? I gave it to you. You didn't. You probably put it somewhere. I checked. Then maybe it's still in my car. The same place as the refill? Her pen stopped. Jason closed his eyes. Can we please keep this calm? I'm calm, I said. That little comment wasn't calm. It was accurate. Shannon drew a circle around the heating pad. There. Happy? No. She shoved the statement back. I'll repay it. When? When I can. How much did you spend after this statement closed? Her expression changed. It was small, but I saw it. What are you talking about? I'm asking whether there are more charges. I don't know. You have the card. That doesn't mean I used it. Did you? She looked at Jason. He asked, Did you? A few things. How many? I didn't count. What things? Household stuff. Why? He asked. We needed them. We have money. I was going to pay Albert before the bill came. You haven't paid the first part. Her chair moved back an inch. I said, I'll handle it. Jason pressed his fingertips against his forehead. I'd seen him use that same gesture in Shannon's recording of me. Nobody called him confused. I took the petition from the table. Who filled in my name? I did, Shannon said. Who marked these sections? I did. Did anybody help you? No. Did you speak to a doctor? No. Did Denise recommend this? She said, families sometimes need legal guidance. That isn't a recommendation. She was concerned by your refusal. She said the service was voluntary. Shannon looked at Jason again. I turned the pages. The sections she'd highlighted described missed medication, unpaid bills, unsafe behavior, and inability to manage money. Which bill did I fail to pay? You would have missed the pharmacy bill if I hadn't paid it. It wasn't due yet. You weren't opening the mail? You opened one envelope. There were others on the table. What unsafe behavior? You climb ladders. I'm a carpenter. You're 68. My age doesn't make a 6-foot stepladder unsafe. You work alone. So, do plenty of people. She leaned across the table. This is exactly what I mean. You have an answer for everything. I know my own life. Jason took the pages from me. What evidence would this need? Shannon answered too quickly. The videos, Denise's notes, statements, anything showing a pattern. Denise didn't assess him. She observed him. She ate a sandwich and left. She saw how defensive he was. Jason read further. Do you have the videos saved somewhere besides my phone? No. That caught my attention. The clips were on his phone. Shannon had sent them to him, but she didn't say she had stored copies elsewhere. How many are there? I asked. Jason looked uncomfortable. Several? Show me. Not now? Why not? Because this is already tense. I want to see what you've been shown. They're just short clips. Then it won't take long. Shannon stood and reached for the petition. We're done. I put one hand on the folder. This stays here. It's mine. It has my personal information on it. It's an unfiled form. Then print another. Jason placed his hand between ours. Let him keep it. She pulled the folder away from me, but Jason didn't move. Shannon, her face went still. After a moment, she let go. That was the useful result of the meeting. I had a copy of what she planned to claim in the form she had prepared herself. The cost was that she now knew I was keeping records too. She picked up her tote bag. I'm going to the car. Jason remained seated until the front door closed. Then he said, she shouldn't have charged those things. No, I didn't know. I believe you. He looked at the phone in his hand. She sent the recordings when she was worried. I didn't ask her to make them. Did you ask why she was recording instead of helping? No. Did you ask where my medicine was? She said the pharmacy hadn't filled it. Every time? He unlocked the phone and scrolled through their messages. I don't know. Check. Right now? Yes. He found the first clip. I could see a still image of myself standing near the sink. Above it was Shannon's message. Your dad is having another confused spell. Dawson still hasn't filled his prescription. Jason read it silently. When was that sent? I asked. He told me the date. I opened the notebook and checked the entries I'd reconstructed from bottle labels and my calendar. That's the week the refill stayed in her car. He looked at the screen again. I don't know that. She admitted finding one under the seat. I mean, I don't know if it was this prescription. That's fair. He scrolled to another clip. The message above that one said the pharmacy was delayed again. Did you ever call Dawson's? I asked. No. Why not? Shannon said she was handling it. I waited. He locked the phone. I'll ask her. Asked to see the pharmacy bags, too. What pharmacy bags? The refills she said weren't ready. He stood and put on his jacket. She's waiting. Take your copy of the statement. He folded it and slipped it into his pocket. At the door, I said, Jason. He turned. If you believe I'm incompetent, file the petition after you've checked everything. If you don't use it to make me obedient. He looked down at the new lock. I haven't signed anything. Keep it that way until you know what you're signing. After they left, I examined the petition page by page. Shannon had left the filing date blank. She'd also left the evidence section blank, though yellow marks ran beside it. I placed it in my folder, then I called Dawson's. Laura answered near closing time. "I need to ask about my account," I said. "All right. Can you tell me the total balance, including charges that haven't appeared on the last statement?" She asked me to confirm my date of birth and address. Then I heard keys tapping. When she gave me the amount, I wrote it down. The balance was far higher than the statement on my table. "Does that include my prescriptions?" "Yes." "Can you separate them from everything else?" "Not without pulling the itemized transactions." "Please do." There was a pause. "Albert, is there a problem with the account?" "Yes." "What kind?" "Purchases I didn't authorize and refills I didn't receive when I was told I would." Her voice became more careful. "I'll review the records. I also need to know who collected each refill. I can check the signed pickup tickets. Don't call Shannon. I won't discuss your inquiry with anyone else. When can I come in? Give me a few days. I want to make sure I pull everything tied to the account." I agreed. After we hung up, I wrote Laura's words beside the balance. For the first time, someone other than me was going to check the transactions themselves. Shannon knew I was documenting. She didn't know the pharmacy had started looking too. 2 days passed without a call from Jason. On the third morning, I found a text from him. "Shannon says you reported her to the pharmacy. Please stop escalating this until we talk." I read it while standing beside the pill organizer. Then I called him. He answered but didn't say hello. "I didn't report her," I said. "You told Laura there were unauthorized charges. There were. You could have given Shannon a chance to repay you. She had months. She didn't know you were tracking every item. I wasn't tracking them when she bought them." "That isn't what I mean." "What do you mean?" He lowered his voice. "She feels like you're building a case against her. She prepared a competency petition with my name on it. She didn't file it, and I haven't disputed the account charges yet. That's different." "How?" He didn't answer. I sat at the table and opened the notebook. "Did you ask her about the pharmacy bags?" "She doesn't keep empty bags." "Did you ask why she told you the pharmacy hadn't filled my medicine?" "She said that's what she believed, even when the bottle was in her car. We don't know if that was the same refill." "That's true." "Did you check?" "How am I supposed to check? The dates are on your phone. That only tells me when she sent the videos, and the labels are on my bottles." He went quiet. "Dad, I can't keep doing this." "Doing what?" "Going through every conversation between you and my wife. I'm asking about the conversations that concern my medicine. She was trying to help. Then the dates should help her." He made a tired sound. "You hear yourself, right?" "Yes." "You sound like you're trying to catch her." "I'm trying to find out what happened." "You've already decided." "No. If I had, I wouldn't need the dates." He didn't respond. I asked, "Will you send me the dates of the clips?" "No." "Why?" "Because she sent them to me privately. They're recordings of me in my house. I didn't record them. But you have them. I'm not getting pulled into this. You were pulled in when she sent the first one." His voice hardened. "Stop questioning Shannon." I waited a moment before answering. "Are you asking me not to question her, or not to question what she did?" "I'm asking you to stop." "Until when?" "Until everybody calms down." I am calm. That doesn't make this normal. Neither does filming your father without his permission. She was scared. Of what? That you were declining. Then why didn't she call my doctor? I don't know. Why did she keep recording? I don't know. Why did she tell you the pharmacy was delayed? I said I don't know. He was shouting by then. I didn't raise my voice. Those are the questions I'm checking. Then check them without me. The line went dead. I set the phone beside the notebook. My first impulse was to call back. I wanted to explain it more clearly. I wanted to find the exact sentence that would make him stay on the line. Patricia used to stop me when I did that. If someone keeps walking away, she'd say, "Don't chase them with a better explanation." I hadn't thought about that habit of hers in years. I left the phone where it was. That afternoon, I went into the garage and started building a small walnut cabinet for my hallway. I'd been saving the boards since before Patricia died. She wanted somewhere to keep gloves, scarves, and the collection of grocery bags she refused to throw away. I'd drawn the plans, cut one side, and then abandoned it. The boards were still stacked beneath a canvas drop cloth. Working on it gave me something exact to do. I jointed the edges. I set the fence on the table saw. I measured each panel twice and wrote the dimensions in pencil directly on the wood. When I tried to fit the first side, the bottom wouldn't seat. I'd cut the groove on the wrong face. I stood there looking at it, That mistake had happened months earlier, before the notebook. I remembered cutting the board after Shannon brought a refill. I'd felt slow that day. I'd blamed poor sleep and put the project away when the joint didn't fit. The board was good walnut. There wasn't enough width left to cut the groove again. I carried it to the scrap rack. That was a real cost, not the price of one board. The cost was seeing my own work damaged on a day when I'd been without medicine I believed the pharmacy hadn't filled. I still couldn't prove why I'd made the mistake. Carpenters make bad cuts. I'd made plenty in 48 years. But I wrote the old date on the back of the ruined panel before setting it aside. The next morning, Laura called. "Can you come by this afternoon?" "Yes. I have the account total separated." Her tone told me there was more. "What did you find?" "I'd rather go through it with you here. I'll be there at 2. I arrived early and waited until the counter cleared. Laura led me to a small consultation area beside the pharmacy counter. It had 3 chairs, a narrow desk, and a door that remained partly open. She placed a printed account summary in front of me. "I separated your prescription charges from non-prescription purchases. The legitimate charges ran down 1 column. The rest filled almost 2 pages. I saw toiletries, supplements, pain patches, cosmetics, cold medicine, household first aid supplies, and several items I didn't recognize by name. At the bottom, Laura had written the total in blue ink, $684. I read it again. "That's all personal purchases? That's everything not tied to one of your prescriptions. Some could have been for me." "Yes, but I didn't receive most of it. I can only tell you what was purchased." I ran my finger down the dates. The charges weren't random. Almost every group appeared on a day when one of my routine prescriptions had been processed. Is that because she bought things when she picked up a refill? That appears to be the pattern. Every time? Not every refill has additional items, but most purchase groups are attached to prescription pickups. Signed by Shannon, Laura folded her hands on the desk. I'm still matching the registered transactions with the pickup tickets. Why does that take several days? Some records are electronic. Some signed tickets are stored by date. I want to verify each one before I give you an answer. I nodded. That makes sense. She pointed to one line. Do you remember receiving this refill on this date? I looked at the medication name. No. I received it later. How much later? I opened the notebook and found the entry I'd reconstructed. I wrote 3 days, based on when Shannon brought the bag. Are you certain? No. That's why I wrote how I calculated it. Laura read my note. What happened during those 3 days? I ran out. Did you call us? I called once. I was told it had been processed. Did you speak to me? I don't remember. She looked up. That's fine. Don't guess. I appreciated those 2 words more than I expected. She turned to another line. This refill was processed during the week you mentioned the recording. Which recording? The one Jason showed you at the meeting. I hadn't told Laura about the recordings before. I explained what Shannon had filmed and what she'd written above the clips. Laura didn't react immediately. Do you know the date of that clip? She asked. Jason read it to me Sunday. I gave her the date. She wrote it on a separate sheet, then compared it with the account record. Albert, I need to verify the pickup ticket before I say anything definite. What are you seeing? The refill was processed before that date. Processed or picked up. That's what I'm checking. I leaned back. The consultation area suddenly felt smaller. How many recordings are there? She asked. Several. Jason wouldn't give me all the dates. Do you have any messages from Shannon about delayed prescriptions? I searched my phone. Most of our conversations had been calls. There were a few texts. One said, Dawson's is backed up. I'll try again tomorrow. Another said, still nothing. Use the old bottle if there's one left. I showed them to Laura. She copied the dates but didn't take my phone. May I note the wording? She asked. Yes. She wrote each message by hand. What happens now? I asked. I finished checking the records. And the account? The balance is still yours as the account holder. I have to pay for all of this? You can dispute purchases. That process takes time, and the authorization may matter. I don't want your pharmacy losing money. That's not what I'm asking you to decide today. I'm paying the bill. Albert, the account is mine. I'll pay the full balance while I sort this out. She watched me for a moment. All right, I can process it at the main counter. I paid $684 for products I hadn't requested, plus my legitimate prescriptions. The money mattered. I wasn't wealthy, and I didn't treat $684 like pocket change. But the worst cost came when Laura handed me the receipt. Paying it removed Shannon's easiest excuse. She couldn't say the account was at risk because I'd failed to manage a bill. The balance was current. It also meant I had paid, once more, to make a family problem disappear from somebody else's view. I folded the receipt and put it in my wallet. Before leaving, I asked, if the signed tickets show she had my medicine before those messages, what does that mean from the pharmacy's side? It means the prescription left our custody when the authorized person signed for it. And after that, we can confirm who received it and when. We can't tell you what happened outside the pharmacy. That's enough. She shook her head slightly. It may not feel like enough. I'm not asking you to explain my family. Laura gathered the papers. I'll call when I've matched everything. I stood, then stopped near the door. Why didn't anyone notice? Notice what? That the same person was picking up my medicine and buying personal items. Because she was authorized to do both. There was no accusation in her answer. The authorization made the transactions look ordinary. I had created that appearance myself. On the way home, I passed Jason Street and kept driving. I wanted to show him the total. I wanted to put the account summary in his hands and make him look at every line. But he'd told me to check without him, so I did. At home, I put the paid receipt in the folder. Then I removed the competency petition and placed it beside Laura's account summary. The petition claimed I couldn't manage money. The receipt showed I'd paid the entire balance. Neither document answered the more important question. I had started the notebook to prove I wasn't forgetting purchases or missing pills through carelessness. That was no longer enough. Even if I proved my memory was sound, Shannon could film another hesitation. She could describe another mistake. Jason could keep choosing whichever explanation required the least from him. I needed to determine whether my dependence had been happening naturally or whether someone had been creating the conditions for it. My objective changed at that table. I stopped trying to prove that I was fine. I started trying to find out whether Shannon had been making sure I wasn't. The next morning, I made a clean sheet in the notebook. I wrote 3 questions. When did each refill leave the pharmacy? When did Shannon say it was unavailable? When did she record me without it? I didn't write what I thought the answers would show. Then I called Laura. I need you to keep the original records, I said. We retain them anyway. I mean the ones connected to these pickups. Don't throw away a signed ticket because it's old. I won't. Can you preserve the register times too? Yes. Even if I don't dispute the account? Yes. They're part of the pharmacy record, I heard her typing. Do you want copies now? She asked. When you've matched everything. All right. And please don't mention this review if Shannon comes in. I won't discuss your account inquiry with her. She still has the card. I understand. That answer bothered me, but I let it rest. The card was still valid because I had authorized it. Laura couldn't treat Shannon like a stranger just because I was asking questions. When will you finish? I asked. I need the dates of the recordings. I'm working on that. Once I have those, I can compare them properly. I thanked her and ended the call. Then I texted Jason. I need to see the clips on your phone. I won't ask you to interpret them. I need the dates and the messages that came with them. He didn't answer until late afternoon. Shannon doesn't consent to sharing private messages. I replied. The videos were made inside my home and show me. I'm asking to view them, not keep your conversations. Another hour passed. Finally, he called. What are you planning to do with the dates? Compare them to my refill schedule. Why? Because she told you the pharmacy hadn't filled the medicine. You're still on that? Yes. Laura already has the records, doesn't she? She's checking my account. So, you did report Shannon. I asked my pharmacist what happened to my prescriptions. He sighed. Can you understand why that feels threatening? It should only feel threatening if the messages are false. That's not fair. It's direct. You know Shannon's upset. I'm not asking Shannon for permission to watch recordings of myself. They're on my phone. Then I'm asking you. He was quiet. I didn't fill the silence. That was new for me. Usually I would have offered him a softer reason. I would have reminded him I loved him. I would have promised not to cause trouble. This time, I waited for his answer. Come by tomorrow after work, he said. No. What? Bring the phone here. Why? Because this happened in my house. He gave a short laugh. You're setting terms now? Yes. Fine, I'll come at 6. He arrived at 6:20 without Shannon. His phone was in his hand when I opened the door. I can stay 15 minutes. That's enough. We sat at the kitchen table. The notebook was open, but my other papers were put away. Jason unlocked the phone and opened his message thread with Shannon. "There are 5 clips," he said. "I thought there were several. 5 is several. When was the first?" He scrolled upward. The earliest clip was from late January. Shannon's message said, "I'd been standing in the kitchen for 10 minutes, trying to remember whether I'd taken my evening pill." The video itself lasted 23 seconds. In it, I was holding the organizer and asking why one compartment was empty. Shannon's voice came from behind the camera. "Albert, you already took it," I answered. "Then why is the bottle count wrong?" The clip ended there. "What happened before that?" I asked. "I don't know." "What happened after?" "I don't know." "Did you ask?" "No." I wrote the date and the exact message. The second clip had been recorded in February. I was sitting at the same table, reading a pharmacy statement. Shannon asked me to name the things I'd purchased. I said, "I didn't purchase these." She asked what I'd done the previous Thursday. I paused. The clip ended during the pause. Her message to Jason said, "I couldn't account for basic spending." Jason watched my face while I wrote that down. "She didn't include the part about the heating pad," I said. "I see that." The third clip came from March. I was at their house near the back door, kneeling beside a piece of trim. I stood too quickly and put one hand against the wall. Shannon asked, "Do you know where you are?" On the video, I looked at her as if the question was foolish. "At your house," I said. Then I asked why she was filming. The clip ended. Her message said I'd become disoriented while working. "I stood too fast," I told Jason. "You don't have to explain it to me. Did she tell you that?" "No. Did you ask?" He looked down. "No." I wrote the date. The 4th was the kitchen recording I'd already seen part of. I was trying to reconstruct what Shannon had said about the refill. Her message read, "Dawson's is behind again. He keeps insisting I have medicine they haven't filled." I copied the date. The 5th clip showed the open cabinet and the empty bottle in my hand. Shannon had recorded it later that same week. That message contained the same claim about Dawson's. I wrote both dates and placed a small mark beside them. "What's that mark?" Jason asked. "The bottle label shows the refill was processed earlier. Processed isn't picked up." "I know." He studied me for a moment. "You've said that before. I'm trying not to claim more than I know." He scrolled through the 5 clips again. "When you watch them together, they look worse. For me? For her?" He said it quietly. I didn't make him repeat it. "What changed?" I asked. "The endings." "What about them?" "They all stop when you ask her something." I leaned closer to the phone. He played the February clip again. I answered her question about the charges, then asked where the items were. The video ended before the word "where" had fully left my mouth. In the March recording, the picture went black immediately after I noticed her phone. The first kitchen clip stopped when I questioned the pill count. That was the partial reward I needed. The videos weren't a continuous record of confusion. They were selections. Each one removed the question that explained what I was doing. Jason had noticed it himself. "Send me the clips," I said. "I can't. They're recordings of me." Shannon sent them privately. "Send me screenshots showing the date and her message." He hesitated. "I said I wouldn't keep your conversations. I need the part about me." He took a screenshot of the first message. Then we heard a car door outside. Jason looked toward the window. "Did you tell her you were coming here?" "Yes." "Did she know why?" "Yes." Shannon came through the front door without knocking. The new key didn't work, but Jason had left the door unlocked behind him. She saw the phone between us. "What are you doing?" Jason locked the screen, showing Dad the videos. "I told you not to. They're videos of him. They're messages between us." "I'm copying the dates," I said. She walked to the table and reached for the phone. Jason pulled it back. "Stop." Her hand remained in the air. "You sent him something?" "One screenshot." "Delete it." "No." The word came from Jason before I could speak. Shannon stared at him. "You have no idea what he's trying to do. He's checking when the videos were made." "Against what?" "My prescriptions," I said. Her attention shifted to me. "What about them?" "You told Jason Dawson's hadn't filled them. That's what they told me." "Who told you?" "Someone at the pharmacy." "Laura?" "I don't know." "Whoever answered." "What time did you call?" "I don't remember." "Did you go there?" "I already told you I did." "When?" "This is insane. It's a date. It was months ago." "You expected me to remember dates while you recorded me." Her face changed. Not guilt, not fear, calculation. She looked at the open notebook, then at Jason's phone. You're trying to make normal mistakes look deliberate. I haven't said they were deliberate. You called the pharmacy. It's my account. You demanded the card. It's my card. You changed the locks. It's my house. She folded her arms. And now you're copying private messages. I'm copying what you said about me. Jason stood. Shannon, the clips cut off every time Dad asks what's happening. That's because I wasn't making a documentary. I was showing you how he was acting. You didn't show me the whole thing. You were at work. I sent short clips. Why didn't you say he was asking about missing pills? I did. No, you said the pharmacy was delayed. It was. I watched them speak without interrupting. Jason unlocked his phone again. What are you doing? She asked, sending the screenshots. All of them? Yes. She grabbed his wrist. He pulled away. Don't touch me. Her hand dropped. I had never heard him speak to her that way. He sent 5 screenshots. My phone sounded once for each one. Shannon turned toward me. What do you plan to do with those? Check whether your statements were true. And if the dates don't match, then I'll ask why. No, you'll accuse me. You'll show Laura. You'll probably tell people I was withholding medication. I haven't told anyone that. You're thinking it. I closed the notebook. I'm thinking you should return the card. She took her wallet from her purse. For a moment, I believed she was going to do it. Instead, she opened it, touched the edge of the pharmacy card, and closed the wallet again. No, she said. Jason looked at her. Why not? Because he's proving he can't handle conflict rationally. He just sat here and wrote down dates. He's building a fantasy where I caused all of this. Then the records will clear you, I said. She put the wallet back into her purse. I'm done participating. You participated when you recorded me. She walked to the door. Jason stayed by the table. Are you coming? She asked him. In a minute. Her eyes moved between us. You've made your choice. No, Jason said. I'm finally checking one. She left and shut the door hard enough to rattle the new lock. Jason sat again. I'll send the full clips too. Keep them on your phone. Why? Because she knows where mine is. He understood. He sent the remaining screenshots but kept the videos. Before leaving, he asked, what happens if the pharmacy dates match what you think? I don't know yet. That was the truth. I had stopped asking Jason to believe me. I had asked him for something concrete, and he'd provided it. But Shannon had seen the new objective clearly. She knew the refill dates could be compared with the recordings. As soon as Jason drove away, I called Laura and read her all 5 dates. Laura didn't discuss the matches over the phone. She wrote down each date and asked whether I could come in Friday morning. Is something wrong with the records? I asked. I want to show you what the account documents say. Did you find the pickup tickets? Yes. Did Shannon sign them? We'll go through that here. Her caution told me enough to keep Friday free. The next day, a large envelope appeared inside my storm door. It hadn't been mailed. My name was printed across the front. Beneath it, Shannon had written, "Please review before this goes any further." I carried it to the kitchen table. Inside was a completed copy of the competency petition. Shannon had signed it. She'd also attached several pages she'd prepared herself. One listed what she called memory incidents, the empty pill organizer, the pharmacy purchases, the day I stood too fast while repairing trim, my refusal to let Denise inspect the house, my changed bank password and door lock. She had turned each boundary into a symptom. Another page described the recordings. She didn't attach the videos, only her version of what they showed. Albert cannot remember whether he has taken medication. Albert becomes agitated when asked basic questions. Albert makes unsupported accusations involving ordinary purchases. Albert demonstrates growing suspicion toward close family members. I read the last line twice. There was no mention of the refill left beneath her car seat. No mention of the products in her bathroom. No mention that she still held my account card after I'd asked for it back. The petition hadn't been filed yet. A note on the final page said she intended to file it if I continued refusing assistance. I called Jason. He answered from his car. Did you know she brought this over? What? The signed petition. He muttered something I couldn't hear. When did she sign it? I asked. Last night. Were you there? Yes. Did you sign anything? No. Did you read her attachments? Some. Do you agree with them? Not all of it. Which parts? I can't do this while I'm driving. Then pull over. Dad. You helped her bring an unsigned form into my house. Now it's signed and sitting on my table. I'm asking what changed. He didn't answer for several seconds. She found the screenshots on your phone, he said. She didn't find them. You sent them. She thinks you're going to use them to accuse her publicly. Publicly where? The pharmacy. Court. I don't know. I haven't filed anything. She says you're trying to ruin her. She put my name on a competency petition. I know, do you? He raised his voice. Yes, I know. I've been living with this every hour since we left your house. I let him breathe. Then I asked, why did you let her deliver it? I didn't. Did she drive herself? Yes. Where were you? At work. Then say that. I'm trying not to make either of you worse. That isn't your job. It became my job when you made me choose. I asked you for dates. You knew what those dates might show. So did she. His turn signal clicked in the background. Shannon says she'll withdraw the petition if you stop challenging her authorization and tell Laura there was a family misunderstanding. That isn't withdrawal. It hasn't been filed. You know what I mean? Yes. She wants me to trade the truth for her promise not to file. She wants things to go back to normal. Normal for whom? He stopped at a traffic light. I'm asking you to think about what this is doing to my marriage. I have. No, you've thought about being right. I paid $684. He went silent. What? That's the total of the personal purchases. I thought it was around 200. So did I. Are you sure? Laura separated the charges. Did Shannon see that number? Not from me. The light must have changed because I heard the car move again. I have to talk to her, he said. First, answer one question. What? Did you send her the screenshots after you left my house? No. Did she use your phone? She knows the code. Are the videos still there? I checked this morning. Yes. Change your code. You're telling me how to manage my wife now? I'm telling you to protect the recordings she's trying to describe in a court form. He ended the call. An hour later, Shannon rang my doorbell. I left the storm door locked and spoke through it. You left the envelope. I know. What do you want? To come inside? No? Her eyes moved to the lock. You're proving my point. My door being locked proves I know how locks work. Stop performing. I asked what you want. She held up her phone. I want you to call Laura and tell her the charges were authorized. They weren't. You let me use the account for years to collect my medicine. You never objected to small purchases. I didn't know about them. That's impossible. You paid the statements. Statements you started opening. I helped with your mail because you weren't handling it. You opened one bill before it was due. There were others. Name one. She pressed her lips together. I waited. You're missing the larger issue, she said. The larger issue is in the envelope. The larger issue is that you don't trust anyone. I trusted you with my prescriptions, account card, bank password, house key, and mail. That's what families do. Families return access when asked. Her phone rose slightly. I pointed toward it. If you record me through my own door, include the question this time. She lowered it. This doesn't have to be ugly. It became ugly when you used a competency petition to keep a shopping privilege. That isn't why I prepared it. Then file it without conditions. Her face changed. What? If you believe I can't manage my affairs, file it. Don't offer to forget it if I protect your pharmacy access. You think you're being clever. No, I'm refusing the bargain. She stepped closer to the storm door. You know Jason and I are barely speaking. That's between you and Jason. No, it's because of you. It's because he watched the full clips. You turned him against me? I didn't film them. You're going to destroy his marriage over a few purchases. $684. Her mouth opened, then closed. She hadn't known I had the full amount. Laura gave you that? She gave me my account total. Shannon looked down the driveway, as if she expected Jason's car. What else did she give you? My receipt. What records are you asking for? I didn't answer. She gripped her phone harder. Albert, if you make private pharmacy information public, you'll regret it. It's my information. It involves me. Then return the card. No. The answer came immediately. That was when I understood the card wasn't convenient to her anymore. It represented something she believed I couldn't take back. She thought keeping it meant keeping her role. You can leave, I said. She stayed on the porch. I'm filing the petition. That's your choice. Jason won't forgive you. That's his choice. You'll have to be evaluated. If the court requires it, I'll cooperate. You could lose control of everything. Then you'd better tell the truth in your filing. She lifted the phone again. This time, she took a picture of me behind the locked storm door. Then she walked to her car. I didn't follow her. I didn't wave. I closed the main door and returned to the kitchen. Her signed petition lay beside my paid pharmacy receipt. One document claimed I couldn't manage money. The other showed I had paid the balance she created. I called the number printed on the petition instructions. A recorded message explained that if a petition was filed, I would receive formal notice and information about the process. I didn't leave my name. I only listened. There was nothing dramatic in the recording, no threat, no promise that somebody would recognize what Shannon was doing. If she filed, I would have to respond. That meant time, discomfort, and people asking questions about my private life. It meant the recordings could be shown without their full context. It meant my mistakes, ordinary and otherwise, could be written down by someone who already viewed my resistance as evidence. That afternoon, Jason arrived. He didn't come inside. We stood in the driveway beside my truck. "She told me what you said," he began. "Which part?" "That she should file. I said if she truly believes the petition, she shouldn't use it as a bargaining tool. She's furious." I noticed. She packed a bag. "Where did she go?" She didn't say. I waited for him to tell me what he wanted. He rubbed the back of his neck. "If you call Laura and say this was a misunderstanding, Shannon will come home. You know that?" She told me. "And you're asking me to do it?" "I'm asking you to consider it. I have." His eyes were red. He looked exhausted. $684 isn't worth this. It isn't about the amount now. Then what is it about? She had my medicine while telling you it wasn't ready. You don't know that yet. I'm checking. And if you're wrong, I'll say I was wrong. What if you're right? I looked toward my house. The new lock shone brighter than the old brass handle. If I'm right, calling it a misunderstanding would help her do it again. Jason stared at the gravel. "I can't lose my wife over this. I'm not asking you to leave her. You're asking me to choose whether she's lying. No, the dates will answer that. She says dates can be misunderstood, so can short videos." He kicked a small stone beneath the truck. "If you keep going, don't call me for a while." That was the price he had available. Not money, not a court order, himself. I felt it land. "All right," I said. He looked up quickly. "That's it? You asked me not to call. You're supposed to care that I'm saying that." "I do. You don't sound like it. I'm not going to prove I love you by lying for Shannon." His face tightened. Then he got into his car and left. I stood in the driveway until his taillights disappeared. For years I'd used work, money, and immediate usefulness to keep the door between us open. Now the door was closing because I'd stopped. I could still call Laura the next morning and end the inquiry. I could say I'd misunderstood. I could let Shannon retain the card and hope she returned my prescriptions on time. Jason might call again. Shannon might come home. Nobody would file anything. I went inside and picked up my phone. Instead of calling Laura, I set an alarm for my Friday appointment. Then I placed the signed petition inside the folder and wrote one final line in the notebook. "Continue, even if Jason stays away." Friday morning, I arrived at Dawson's before the chairs near the window filled. Laura saw me and pointed toward the consultation area. On the desk was a thick white envelope with my name written across the front. It wasn't sealed. She closed the door most of the way, but left a gap. "I matched every disputed refill," she said, "with the pickup tickets and the register times." "Did they match the recording dates?" She rested one hand on the envelope. "Yes." I didn't ask for the full explanation immediately. I sat down and took the notebook from my jacket. "Before we go through that, I need to know what I can actually do about the account." Laura opened a separate folder. "This is your authorization record." The first page showed my name as the sole account holder. Patricia's old authorization had been closed after her death. Shannon's name appeared beneath mine on the newer form. I remembered signing it. Laura turned to a page of standard account conditions. This section explains authorized purchasers. The wording was plain enough. The account holder could permit another person to collect prescriptions and make approved pharmacy purchases. The account holder remained responsible for the balance. "That part I understand," I said. Laura pointed to the next sentence. "The authorization continues until the account holder revokes it." "How do I revoke it?" "You tell us you're revoking it and you sign the account change." "Does Shannon have to return the card?" "No." "Does she have to agree?" "No." "Does Jason?" "No." "What happens to the card in her wallet?" "We mark it inactive. The register won't accept it." "And prescription pickups?" "Her name comes off the authorized list immediately." I read the sentence again. All that time, I'd been asking Shannon to return something she believed gave her control. The plastic didn't give her control. My permission did. I didn't know I could end it by myself, I said. You're the account holder. I thought I'd have to close everything and start again. No, your prescriptions and account remain here. Her access ends right away. Once you sign, that removed the last uncertainty. I didn't need to persuade Shannon. I didn't need Jason to take the card from her. I didn't need to argue over whether she was helping. The authorization had begun with my consent, and it could end the same way. Can she be added back later? I asked. If you authorize her again. So it would be my decision. Yes. I nodded and closed the account conditions. Show me what you found. Laura opened the white envelope. She didn't spread everything across the desk. She kept the pages together and showed me the first summary sheet. It listed each disputed prescription, when it was filled and when it was collected. Beside those entries were references to signed pickup tickets and register transactions. The dates Jason had given me appeared in a separate column. Every clip had been recorded after Shannon signed for the related refill, not one before. I looked at the first line. How long before? Laura answered. I wrote it down. The second refill had left Dawson's even earlier than I expected. The third had been collected on a day when Shannon texted that the pharmacy was still backed up. Laura showed me the signed ticket without removing it from the packet. Shannon's signature was clear. Are these originals? I asked. The signed tickets are pharmacy records. The packet contains authenticated copies and printed electronic history. The originals remain secured. And the item purchases, they're attached to the same visits. So, she collected the prescription, bought personal things, and then told me the prescription wasn't ready. That is what the account record shows. Laura didn't tell me what it meant. She didn't call Shannon cruel or dishonest. She stayed inside what she could prove. That made the proof stronger. What about the balance? I asked. Paid in full. If I dispute the personal charges now, what happens? We review the transactions and authorization. Because Shannon was permitted to make purchases, the dispute may not remove your responsibility. I understand. You could document that the purchases were against your instructions. Would that recover the money? Not automatically. I closed the envelope. I'm not asking the pharmacy to absorb it. You don't have to decide that today. I already paid. I want Shannon to reimburse me directly. That's between you and her. Yes. Laura slid a blank account change form toward me. If you want to revoke her access, I can process this now. I held the pen but didn't write. What happens if she tries the card after it's revoked? The register refuses the charge. And if she tries to collect a refill? We refuse the pickup unless you authorize it another way. Would you tell her why? We'd say she is no longer authorized. I set down the pen. Not yet. Laura looked at me. Are you sure? Yes. She can still use the account until we process the change. I know. That was the pressure attached to waiting. Every hour left a door open that I now knew how to close. I wasn't waiting to catch her stealing more. I didn't want another charge or another delayed bottle. I needed Jason to see the record from the person responsible for keeping it. If I revoked the access quietly that morning, Shannon could tell him I'd acted from paranoia. She could describe the packet as something I had misunderstood. He needed to hear Laura explain the pharmacy's own records. Can we discuss my account with Jason and Shannon present? I asked. With your permission, yes. Even the pickup history? Yes, if you expressly authorize us to discuss it before them. Would you be comfortable doing that? I'll state what the records show. That's all I want. Laura returned the blank form to the folder. I'll keep this packet secured here. Don't give me a copy yet. Why? Shannon knows I'm keeping papers at home. Laura understood. I'll retain it. I asked when my next routine refill would be ready. She checked the computer. Monday afternoon. Call me when it is. I will. One more thing. If Shannon calls before then, don't tell her about this packet. I won't discuss the review, and don't block her account access yet. That remains your decision. I left Dawson's without the envelope. At home, I found a message from Jason. Did the pharmacy prove anything? I answered with a direct request. Meet me at Dawson's Monday when I collect my refill. Bring Shannon and your phone. He called immediately. Why the pharmacy? Because that's where the records are. What records? My account records. Can't you just tell me what Laura said? You asked me to check without you. I checked. Now I'm asking you to hear the answer yourself. Does Shannon know? I haven't called her. She's going to think this is an ambush. Tell her we're discussing the account she still uses. Did you revoke her card? Not yet. He paused. Why not? I want both of you present when I make my decision. That sounds like a threat. It's a meeting at a pharmacy counter. Dad, she's already talking about filing the petition. She left a signed copy at my house. She hasn't filed it. I know. You could make this worse. I could also pretend it didn't happen. He breathed into the phone. What time Monday? I gave him the time Laura expected the refill to be ready. I'll ask Shannon, he said. Don't ask. Tell her I'm requesting that she attend. You don't get to order her around. No, she can decline. If she does, I'll handle the account without her. He went quiet again. What should I bring the phone for? The recordings. She knows you have screenshots. I need the clips on the device that received them. Are you planning to show them to Laura? If necessary. He said he would call back. I spent the rest of the afternoon working on the walnut cabinet. The ruined side panel remained on the scrap rack. I selected another board and milled it to size. This time, I marked the inside face in chalk. I cut the groove, tested the bottom, and fitted the joint without forcing it. At 4, Jason called. We'll be there. Thank you. Shannon wants to know if Laura is accusing her of something. Laura will discuss the account records. That's all you're telling me? Yes. She also wants to know if she can pick up a few things while we're there. She can bring whatever she intends to purchase. The answer felt dangerous, but it was honest. Her authorization still existed. Are you going to pay for them? He asked. We'll settle the account at the counter. He didn't like that answer either. Shannon says you're trying to embarrass her. I asked for a private meeting. At the pharmacy, they have a consultation area. Then why does she think this will happen at the counter? I don't know. That part wasn't entirely true. Shannon expected to use the account card. Any purchase would happen at the register. I had no intention of gathering a crowd. Dawson's was an ordinary neighborhood pharmacy. People came in for blood pressure medicine, cough drops, greeting cards, and toothpaste. If customers happened to be waiting, I wouldn't ask them to leave. After the call, I sat in Patricia's chair near the living room window. It was the only piece of furniture I hadn't moved after her death. The fabric on one arm was worn smooth where she used to rest her hand. I thought about the easy, cruel choices. I could send copies of Shannon's charges to everyone who knew her. I could describe the recordings without giving her a chance to answer. I could use the petition to make Jason choose sides before he saw the proof. I didn't want any of that. I wanted the access ended. I wanted the money repaid. I wanted Jason to understand what he had accepted, because challenging his wife felt harder than questioning me. After that, he could decide what relationship remained. So could I. That evening, I opened the cabinet above the refrigerator and took down the bourbon Patricia had given me on our last anniversary. I poured one quiet glass. I didn't toast anyone. I didn't make a promise out loud. I sat at the kitchen table, drank it slowly, and read the blank account change form Laura had copied for me. When the glass was empty, I washed it and put it away. Then I placed my wallet, notebook, and truck keys beside the door. On Monday, the account would still be mine. For the first time, I understood that the permission was mine too. Monday afternoon, Laura called while I was sanding the cabinet door. Your refill is ready. I'll be there shortly. I washed the dust from my hands and changed my shirt. The notebook went into my jacket pocket. I carried no folder because the records were already where they belonged. When I reached Dawson's, Jason's car wasn't there yet. I waited near the greeting cards. Laura was helping a customer at the counter. She nodded when she saw me, but said nothing about the packet. A few minutes later, Jason entered alone. Where's Shannon? I asked. Parking? Did she bring your phone? He patted his jacket pocket. She's angry. I expected that. She thinks you've already made up your mind. I've made up my mind about the account. I haven't decided what happens after. His eyes moved toward Laura. What did she find? You'll hear it from her. Shannon came through the door, carrying a plastic shopping basket. Her phone was raised in front of her. She had already started recording. Inside the basket were shampoo, vitamins, skin cream, pain patches, and 2 other items I couldn't identify. She stopped near us and aimed the phone at my face. Are we doing this here? We can use the consultation area, I said. No. You wanted witnesses. I asked for you and Jason. You picked a public place. It's the pharmacy. She turned the camera toward the counter. Exactly. Jason stepped beside her. Put the phone down. I'm protecting myself. From what? from him changing the story later. I didn't ask her to stop. I knew she wouldn't. Laura finished with the customer and called us forward. 2 people were waiting near the chairs. Another man stood by the cold medicine aisle comparing labels. Nobody had gathered for us. They were ordinary customers trying to finish ordinary errands. Laura placed my sealed prescription bag behind the register. Albert asked to discuss his account with both of you present, she said. Shannon kept filming. I'm here. Laura looked at me. Do I have your permission to discuss your account activity, prescription pickup records, and authorized purchaser record in front of Jason and Shannon? Yes. Do you understand that other customers may hear portions of the conversation? Yes. Shannon moved the basket onto the counter. Can we pay for these while we're talking? Laura didn't touch the items. We'll address the account first. Shannon gave a small laugh toward her phone. Of course. Jason stood between us, though he wasn't facing either side completely. Laura brought out the white envelope. Before she opened it, Shannon spoke. I wanted on record that Albert authorized me to use this account after Patricia died. I've picked up his medicine for years. There was never a problem until he started forgetting things. Laura waited. Shannon continued. The pharmacy has been late filling several prescriptions. I told Jason because Albert blamed me when he didn't have them. Were the prescriptions in your possession? I asked. No. Any of them? Not when I recorded you. Her phone remained pointed at me. Did you purchase personal items on my account? I asked. I purchased things you allowed. The face cream? You knew I sometimes added small items. The total was $684. Her hand shifted slightly. That includes things for you. Which things? I don't have a list memorized. The list is in the packet, Laura said. Shannon turned the phone toward her. I'm not speaking to you. Laura's expression didn't change. You are discussing a Dawson's account at my counter. Jason looked at Shannon. Let her explain the records. She's already taken his side. I haven't stated a side, Laura said. I have transaction records. Shannon aimed the camera back at me. Albert, if you're certain about all this, tell us the refill dates. I don't know them from memory. She looked at Jason. There. That's the problem. I don't need to memorize them, I said. You made this entire accusation about dates you can't even remember. I asked the pharmacy to preserve them. Because you're confused. The word carried farther than the rest of her sentence. The man near the cold medicine looked over, then returned to the label in his hand. Shannon kept going. You lose track of pills, you forget purchases, you stand in your kitchen searching for medicine you already have, then accuse me while I'm trying to help. Jason took out his phone. Shannon, no, he wanted this here. She moved closer to me. Tell Laura what you said, when you couldn't remember whether I brought the bottle. I asked where it was. You said I was withholding it. I didn't use that word. You implied it. You filmed the hesitation, because it keeps happening. She turned her phone so the screen faced me. My own image appeared on it, standing beside the cabinet with the empty bottle. Look at yourself. I did. Then I looked at Laura. Please show them. Laura opened the envelope. She removed the summary sheet first. These are the routine prescriptions Albert identified as disputed, she said. For each one, Dawson's retained the processing time, pickup time, signed ticket, and connected register transaction. Shannon lowered her phone by a few inches. The first recording date Jason provided was January 28th, Laura continued. The related refill was picked up on January 26th at 1:14 in the afternoon. Jason unlocked his phone and found the first clip. That's 2 days before, he said. Laura placed a copy of the signed ticket on the counter. The pickup signature is Shannon Gibson. Shannon raised the phone again. I probably intended to bring it over. Laura moved to the next line. The February refill was collected on February 11th at 12:43. The recording was sent on February 13th. Jason scrolled. He read Shannon's message aloud. Dawson still hasn't filled it. Shannon reached for his phone. That was what I thought. He stepped away. You signed for it. I pick up a lot of things. I could have mixed up the prescriptions. Laura placed the next ticket beside the first. The March refill was collected on March 7th at 3:18. The recording was made on March 8th. She added another ticket. The April refill was collected on April 2nd at 1:09. The first kitchen recording occurred on April 4th. Jason checked every date. His face changed slowly. He wasn't looking at me anymore. He was looking at the messages his wife had sent him. Laura continued. The refill shown in the final recording was collected on April 2nd as part of the same pickup. That's the one under your car seat, Jason said. Shannon's voice sharpened. I told you it rolled under there. You told me the pharmacy hadn't filled it. I forgot I had it. Then why were you filming him for forgetting? She didn't answer. Laura removed the itemized receipts. These purchases were attached to the same account visits. The highlighted items are not prescriptions. She read the first group: face cream, shampoo, vitamins. The next receipt listed allergy tablets and compression socks. The third included pain patches and the heating pad. Every receipt showed the same account card. Everyone connected to a visit when Shannon had collected one of my refills. Jason compared the receipts with the messages. So you had the medicine before every clip? Shannon turned off her recording. The screen went black. I didn't do anything to his medicine. That isn't what I asked. I forgot the bags were in the car. Every time, I was busy. You told me Dawson's was delayed, because I didn't remember picking them up. Jason held his phone beside Laura's summary. You filmed Dad forgetting while you were the one claiming you forgot? I was worried about him. You cut the videos when he asked where the pills were. They were short videos. You made them look like he couldn't understand basic questions. He couldn't remember dates. Neither could you 5 minutes ago. Shannon looked toward me. You planned this. I asked Laura to preserve the account records. You brought us here to humiliate me. I brought you here because Jason wouldn't accept dates from me. Jason looked at the signed tickets again. I wouldn't. That was the belief change. He didn't make a speech. He didn't apologize at the counter. He simply stopped defending her explanation. Shannon pushed the basket toward Laura. Fine. Ring these up separately. Laura looked at me. I took the blank account change form from my jacket. I had filled in my name at home, but left the signature line empty. I revoke Shannon Gibson's authorized purchaser status, I said. Laura placed the form on the counter. Sign and date here. I signed. Laura entered the change into the register. She checked the screen, then marked the form with the time. Her authorization is revoked, she said. It is effective immediately. Shannon pulled the pharmacy card from her wallet. You can't do that while there's a dispute. I'm the account holder. I've used this card for 4 years, with my permission. You need me to collect your prescriptions. No. She put the card on the counter beside the basket. Run it. Laura scanned the shampoo first. Then she entered the card. The register gave a low refusal tone. This card is inactive, Laura said. Shannon stared at the screen. Try it again. The authorization has been revoked. I'm standing right here. That doesn't change the account. Shannon pointed toward the prescription bag behind Laura. I'll take his refill. I brought him here. No, Laura said. You are no longer authorized to collect it. I'm his daughter-in-law. That is not an account permission. Laura moved the basket back toward Shannon. You'll need another payment method for these items. The 2 customers by the chairs had gone quiet. The man from the cold medicine aisle joined the line, but kept a respectful distance. Nobody applauded. Nobody laughed. They simply watched Shannon put the inactive card back into her wallet. I paid for my legitimate refill with my own bank card. Laura handed me the receipt and the sealed pharmacy bag. Then she issued 1 new house account card in my name. I placed it in my wallet behind my driver's license. Shannon left the basket on the counter. She walked out without buying any of it. Jason remained beside me, holding the phone that contained all 5 clips. Through the front window, we watched Shannon get into his car and lock the passenger door. He looked at the signed tickets one last time. She had them, he said. Yes, and she knew you didn't. Yes. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then he put the phone into his jacket and followed her outside. I stayed at the counter while Laura returned the packet to its envelope. The old permission was over. What remained between the 3 of us would have to survive without it. Laura closed the envelope and returned it to the secured cabinet behind the counter. Do you want copies today? She asked. Yes, everything I'm entitled to have. She made a copy of the account summary, my authorization record, the signed pickup tickets, and the itemized receipts. I asked her to leave the original pharmacy records where they were. At home, I put my refill into the kitchen cabinet and entered the pickup time in the notebook. Then I took the new card from my wallet. It had my name printed across the front. No second name, no additional authorization. I returned it to my wallet. Shannon called before supper. I let it ring once, then answered. You humiliated me, she said. Hello, Shannon. You let Laura discuss private information in front of strangers. I gave permission to discuss my account. The receipts had my signature. Yes, you knew customers could hear. I agreed when Laura asked. You could have done it in the consultation room. I suggested that when you arrived. You knew I'd want witnesses. No, you said I wanted witnesses. She went quiet. I could hear a cabinet closing in the background. Jason hasn't spoken to me since we left, she said. That's between you and Jason. He keeps replaying those videos. He should. You've made me look like some kind of monster. I didn't make the recordings. You keep saying that as if it settles everything. It settles who chose to film. I was concerned. You had the medicine. I forgot it was in the car. More than once. I had a lot going on. You told Jason the pharmacy was responsible. I made mistakes. So did I. You filmed mine. She breathed out slowly. What do you want from me? The pharmacy access is over. I understand that. You reimbursed the $684. I can't do that all at once. Then give me a written plan. You want a contract? I want dates and amounts. You're treating me like a stranger. I wouldn't let a stranger charge $684. Her voice rose. I helped you for years. You picked up prescriptions. I brought groceries. I paid bills. I checked on you. You opened mail and used my bank login because you gave it to me. That's true. The anger left her voice for a moment. I had admitted my part, and she hadn't expected it. I gave you more access than I should have, I continued. That doesn't turn every use into permission. You never complained before. I didn't know before. She became quiet again. What about the petition? I asked. I haven't filed it. That wasn't my question. What do you want me to say? Do you still believe I'm incompetent? I believe you need help. With what? Medication, bills, being alone. My medication has stayed correct since I began collecting it. You could still forget. So could you. That's different. Why? She didn't answer. I looked at the clock over the sink. It was the same clock visible in 2 of her recordings. Send me the repayment plan by Friday, I said. And if I don't? I'll ask again in writing. You're not threatening to sue me? No. Why not? I want the money returned. I don't want another fight to manage. She gave a bitter laugh. How generous. It isn't generosity. What is it? A boundary. She ended the call. The next morning, Jason texted. Can I come over after work? I answered yes. He arrived carrying nothing. No drill, no damaged hinge, no bag of parts. I noticed immediately. He sat at the kitchen table and placed his phone between us. I made copies of the videos, he said. Where? On a drive at work where Shannon can't delete them. Good. I also saved the messages. Good. He looked around the kitchen. Is your medicine okay? Yes. Did you take last night's dose? I opened the notebook and showed him. He nodded. I know that sounded like I was checking up on you. It did. I'm trying to ask directly. That's better? He rubbed one hand over his face. Shannon says she forgot the bags. What do you think? I think she may have forgotten one. I don't believe she forgot all of them. I waited. He looked toward the cabinet where I kept the prescriptions. I think she liked you needing her. That was closer to the truth than anything he'd said before. She didn't have to keep the medicine for that. No, she could have brought it and still helped. I know. Then why film me? He looked at his phone. To convince me. Of what? That we needed to take over more. I closed the notebook. And you believed her? Yes. The answer came without an excuse. I wanted to believe her, he added. Why? Because if I questioned her, I had to question everything else. Such as? The account. Your work at our house. The materials you paid for. I didn't speak, he continued. You made it easy for us. I told myself you liked doing it. I did like some of it. I know. That made it easier to take more. He picked at a scratch in the tabletop. When you stopped, I acted like you were hurting us. You weren't. You were just no longer carrying what belonged to us. I looked at him carefully. That sounds rehearsed. It is. With whom? Just me. In the car. That almost made me smile. He unlocked his phone and opened a message. I told Shannon I won't support the petition. What did she say? That I'm choosing you. Are you? I'm choosing not to sign something I don't believe. That was his first choice he owned, without blaming either of us. Did she file it herself? I asked. No. I checked. How? I asked to see the filing confirmation. She admitted she never submitted it. She could still. I know. Your refusal doesn't prevent her. I know that too. He turned the phone toward me. His message to Shannon was short. I will not sign or support the petition. The recordings do not show what you told me they showed. I read it and handed the phone back. Thank you. I should have said it sooner. Yes, he accepted that. Then he asked, "Are you ever coming back to our house?" I don't know. The railing was fixed. By whom? I hired someone. How did it turn out? It's solid. Good. He waited for me to offer to inspect it. I didn't. I paid him, he said. That's usually how it works. He smiled once, then looked down. Shannon says she'll repay you. She told me she needs time. We can afford it. Then she should repay it. You don't want the money from me? No, we're married. She used the card. She denied it. She tied repayment to my silence. Jason nodded slowly. I understand. Don't cover the consequence for her. You covered plenty for me. That's why I know what it does. He stayed for almost an hour. We didn't solve the marriage. We didn't solve what our relationship would become. We talked about his work and the walnut cabinet. He asked if I needed help lifting it when it was finished. I can lift it, I said. I didn't ask if you could. I looked at him. Then asked what you mean. Can I help because I'd like to? Yes. That answer cost me nothing. When he left, I didn't ask when he'd call again. Friday afternoon, a plain envelope arrived in my mailbox. It was sealed and addressed in Shannon's handwriting. Inside was a cashier's check for $684. There was no repayment plan because she had paid the full amount. A note was folded around the check. This repays the personal items. I still believe I was trying to help, but I should not have used the account without asking. It wasn't a full apology. She admitted the purchase, not the delayed medicine or recordings. I deposited the check. Then I wrote paid beside the total in my notebook. I didn't return her old key. I didn't add her to the new lock. I didn't call Dawson's about restoring access. The following Monday, I collected another refill myself. Laura handed me the bag and asked whether the count had stayed correct. So far. Would you like automatic text notices from now on? Yes. She set them up while I stood there. My number was the only one listed for the alerts. That was the practical change. No family interpretation stood between the pharmacy and me. When I returned home, Jason's car was in the driveway. He was sitting on the front step with 2 cups of coffee. He didn't have a tool list. Decaf, he said, lifting 1 cup. I remembered. I unlocked the door. Come in. He remained seated. Shannon wants to speak to you. What does she want? To apologize. About which part? I asked her that, and she said all of it. I looked at the coffee in his hand. Is she waiting in the car? No, she's at home. Good. She wants to come Saturday if you agree. With no petition, no account card, and no phone recording. I'll tell her. No? Ask her directly if she agrees. Jason took out his phone. He didn't soften the question or turn it into a hint. A minute later, her answer appeared. I agree. I handed the phone back. Saturday afternoon, I said. Jason nodded and offered me the second coffee. We sat on the front step and drank it without fixing anything. Saturday afternoon, Shannon arrived alone. She rang the bell and waited outside. When I opened the door, her phone was nowhere in sight. She held the old house key and the inactive pharmacy card in one hand. I know neither one works, she said. I'm returning them anyway. I stepped aside. She placed both on the kitchen table and sat across from me. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said, I'm sorry. I waited. She looked at the cabinet where I kept my prescriptions. I kept the bags longer than I should have. How much longer? Usually a day or 2, sometimes more. Why? At first, I really did forget one in the car. And after that? She rubbed her thumb along the edge of the table. You needed me when I brought them. You'd ask me to stay. You'd offer to fix something. You could have visited without holding my medicine. I know. Why didn't you? Because I liked being the person who handled things. That doesn't explain the recordings. No. She took a breath. When you started questioning the account, I panicked. I knew I'd use more than I could explain. So you filmed me. I wanted Jason to think the problem was your memory. She said it without looking at me. Did you believe I was confused? Sometimes. That wasn't my question. No. Not the way I made it look. Did you know missed doses made me foggy? I knew you said you felt off. You still delayed the bottles. I told myself a day wouldn't matter. Then you recorded what happened during that day. Yes. The word came out quietly. I stood and walked to the sink. My hands wanted a task, but there was nothing to wash. Why prepare the petition? To scare you into backing down. Did you intend to file it? I don't know. That means yes, if I hadn't backed down. She nodded. I might have. Using those clips? Yes. And the consultant visit? Yes. I turned around. Did Denise know what you were doing? No. I told her what I wanted her to believe. Did you contact her again? No. Will you? No. She reached into her purse slowly and removed a folded sheet of paper. It was a written statement. She had dated and signed it. It said she would not file the competency petition based on the recordings or the incidents she had listed. It also acknowledged that the pharmacy purchases were personal and made without my specific approval. I'm not asking you to sign anything, she said. This is mine. I read it and placed it beside the returned card. Jason helped you write this? He told me what needed to be clear. I wrote it. Do you still have copies of the petition? I destroyed the ones at home. The copy you left here stays with me. I understand. What about the recordings? I deleted mine. Jason kept his. I know. He decides what happens to them. She nodded. I sat down again. The reimbursement was necessary, I said. So was returning these. Neither restores access. I know. You won't collect prescriptions for me. All right. You won't use my account. All right. You won't open my mail, enter my house without asking, or manage a bill. All right. If I need help, I'll ask directly. She looked at me. Do you think you'll ever ask me? I don't know. That hurt her. I could see it. I didn't soften the answer. What can I do? She asked. Call before visiting. That's it? For now. No errands? No. No checking on your pills? No. She folded her hands. Can I still come to dinner? If you're invited, will you come to our house? Maybe. She nodded again. We spoke for another 20 minutes. She didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't offer it. When she left, she took her purse and nothing else. The old key and inactive card remained on my table. I cut the card in half and threw it away. I placed the key in a jar of spare hardware in the garage. It no longer opened anything. The following week, Jason came over to help lift the walnut cabinet. He arrived on time, wearing an old work shirt. I brought gloves, he said. You won't need them. I'm prepared anyway. We carried the cabinet from the garage to the hallway. I showed him how to find the wall studs and mark their centers. He held the cabinet level while I drove the first screw. Do you want me to do that? He asked. Have you used an impact driver before? Yes. Correctly? Probably not. I handed it to him. He drove the second screw too deep. I didn't take the tool away. I showed him how to ease the next one in. When we finished, the cabinet sat square against the wall. I placed Patricia's old gardening gloves in the top drawer and folded several grocery bags beneath them. Jason stood back. Mom would have filled the whole thing with bags. She believed every bag had another life. She was usually right. We went into the kitchen. He opened the refrigerator. You have nothing for lunch. I have eggs. You have one egg. That's not nothing. Do you want to go get lunch? There was no loose hinge attached to the invitation. Yes, I said. At the restaurant, he paid for his meal and I paid for mine. He didn't reach for my check. I didn't reach for his. A few days later, he called at night. I answered. What broke? Nothing. Good. I'm watching a terrible movie. Turn it off. I've already invested an hour. That hour is gone either way. He laughed. We talked until the movie ended. Shannon didn't join the call. She didn't send a message afterward asking whether I'd taken my medicine. Her first direct call came almost 3 weeks later. Would you come for dinner Sunday? She asked. What time? 6. Is anything broken? No. Are there parts on the dining table? No. Did Jason tell you to call? No. All right. When I arrived, I left my tools at home. The bathroom drawers still worked. The railing Jason had hired someone to repair was solid. I noticed both, but I didn't inspect them. Shannon served chicken, green beans, and rolls, the same meal we'd eaten before. This time, there were no drawer slides beside my plate. After dinner, she asked if I wanted coffee. Decaf. I remember, she brought it without commenting on my memory. The evening wasn't comfortable. Not completely. There were pauses where all three of us could feel the old version of the family trying to return. Jason almost asked me to look at a sticking closet door, then stopped himself. I noticed. You can ask, I said. He shook his head. Not tonight. Not. A month later, he called with a direct request. I bought shelves for the laundry room. Will you help me install them Saturday? I have the brackets and screws. I want to do the work with you. Yes, I'm not asking you to pay for anything. I heard you. And if you don't want to, that's okay. I said yes. We spent one morning installing the shelves together. I helped without buying the materials. I didn't take over when he measured slowly. When he marked one bracket too low, I showed him the problem and let him correct it. Shannon stayed out of the room until we finished. Then she brought us water. They look good, she said. Jason answered, Dad showed me how. He didn't say I'd done everything. I hadn't. I kept collecting my own prescriptions. The text notice came to my phone. I drove to Dawson's, gave my name, checked the label, and signed for the bag. Sometimes Laura was at the counter. Sometimes another employee helped me. The process became boring again. That was what I wanted. Shannon never regained access. Months later, she asked once. We were sitting on their porch after dinner. Jason had gone inside to answer a call. Do you think you'll ever trust me to pick up a prescription again? She asked. No. She looked toward the yard. Ever? I can have a relationship with you without giving you that access. She nodded slowly. I'm learning the difference. She didn't ask again. Our relationship stayed limited. She called before coming over. She didn't touch my mail. She never asked for my passwords. Some visits went well. Others ended early. When she apologized again, she named what she had done without calling it help. I listened. I didn't reward better words with restored permission. Jason changed more slowly. He still avoided conflict sometimes. When that happened, I told him directly instead of fixing something to earn another conversation. Once, he didn't call for 2 weeks. I wanted to drive over with a toolbox and invent a reason to be needed. Instead, I called him. I haven't heard from you, I said. I'd like to have lunch. He answered, I'd like that too. No broken drawer stood between us. If you stayed with me through all of this, tell me what you would have done. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories like mine. The next refill notice arrived on a clear Tuesday morning. I finished my coffee, checked the pill organizer, and wrote the remaining count in the notebook. At Dawson's, Laura brought the sealed bag to the counter. Everything still working? She asked. Yes. Same text number? Same number. I signed the pickup receipt myself. Outside, the sun had warmed the truck's windshield. I unlocked the passenger door, moved a clean tape measure off the seat, and checked my wallet before climbing in. The active house account card sat behind my driver's license. No other person had one. No extra authorization remained on the account. I placed the pharmacy bag on my truck's passenger seat, while the sole account card rested in my own wallet.